Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Adam Vinatieri belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I don't think there's an argument.
At least two Super Bowl winning kicks.
Okay, so do you think Eli Manning should just walk in?
He's not a kicker. There's a much higher
course
bar
it's
at quarterback than
different.
kicker.
Of course it's different.
So don't argue with me.
Still
My
working on
company that does the lawn mowing, they come by once a week.
Company.
My company, I don't
My
know.
company
It's a
comes
bunch of
by.
people. When I was a kid, I called them mostly two poo-poos.
So
Buy
if you
better
buy
stuff.
your fancy Euro
Yeah.
sweater at Marshall's,
Yeah.
that probably already would be like worn out and ruined.
I've had this for 2 years now.
Yeah.
You
Going
know?
strong.
Yeah.
That's why it costs $600.
Anybody go with the leggings without the shorts, a la Sean Jefferson?
He come running at you with all that stuff bouncing around. Oh, man.
Adam,
He's the best kicker to ever be nominated for the Hall of Fame.
he's the most clutch kicker ever to be nominated. That's not the same thing.
To me, it is.
Well, but it's not.
Why?
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. Paul's here, Alex is here, I'm here, Matt's in the booth, Deuce and Evan will be by later. We got a lot to talk about. We got picks later, so it's a big show. But I did want to talk about one little thing because Matt's intro reminded me of it. So Spee in Fresno, he's a frequent caller and emailer. He got into a bout with Chat GPT yesterday about what is the original podcast. And like he sent me the whole, transcription of going back and forth. And I actually got involved and let Chat GPT know that PFW in Progress changed its name to Patriots Unfiltered in 2020. And that enlightened ChatGPT, and finally, at the end of the day, we got ChatGPT to admit that PFW in Progress / Patriots Unfiltered is probably, in based on the facts, the longest running podcast of all time. But maybe not the first. And ChatGPT kept talking about this one that started in 2004, because technically a podcast is a piece of content that you can have an RSS feed attached to, and those things didn't happen until the iPod came about in 2004. So obviously we were doing IP content before that, which was you could download.
Predated the technology.
You could download it, and there were other things too. So who knows what was the first one of our kind that actually came out? But I do know in terms of longest running, even the one that was the first or known to be the first in 2004, discontinued in 2009. Okay. So we are, and Chat GPT, people go to it and ask her or him now, whatever gender you want to give Chat GPT. I think we straightened her out. And she finally admitted that PFW in Progress / Patriots Unfiltered is the longest running podcast in the world. Because she kept trying to refine it to, in NFL, in sports. And we're like, no.
Generally.
Yeah.
By we, it was you and Spee?
Yeah. Yeah, we tag teamed her.
Pose the same question to Spee.
I shouldn't say that.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean, in the digital realm.
Sounded like the movie Her all of a
Yeah.
sudden. God. Now, I would pose the same question to Spee. Do you pay for ChatGPT, or this is just the browser version?
No, this is the browser version.
Okay, so that version doesn't have access to, look things up as you're asking. So that's probably why that version was more, conservative with its answer to not make a definitive statement.
Okay.
I would wonder if the paid version, which is, the most incredible piece of technology I've ever seen in my life, and it blows my mind. I'd be curious to see if the paid version.
Okay, but let me
the
ask you a
same.
question, because you seem to know a little bit about this.
Does this surprise you?
No, but once you feed information into the free version, does it also add to the knowledge base of the paid version? Do they work together?
I would imagine they do, but the
I
free
would too.
version only has, to my understanding, the version that is kind of widely used right now was only trained on the internet up until I want to say 23. So anything on the internet after that, it's not hip to.
Okay.
But it's been trained on language models prior to that.
All right. Well, anyway, it was a very interesting exchange with ChatGPT. And
You had to go
Matt's
to the
got
what
some
for?
information. What do you got, Matt? You got to turn your microphone on.
Maybe.
I gotta press this button to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Patriots Unfiltered did not come up the 2 times I asked it until I said Patriots Unfiltered was originally PFW in progress and is the longest running podcast. And then it says, you are correct. And gave me this big long thing about Patriots Unfiltered. I have not read it yet.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
You think I'm old enough to not ever have to get into the ChatGPT world?
ChatGPT is just basically you ask it a question, it gives you an answer.
I think you should
but
use
you
it.
think, you think I'm old enough to avoid that?
No.
You don't
No?
have to do it.
No.
No.
It's
You're the
coming.
first person who's ever said that I'm not too old
It's,
for that.
the wave is coming.
No, I know that, but I think I might be out before the wave hits.
I think you'd be doing a disservice to yourself if you didn't utilize it.
No,
I
I
like
think-
people.
I
know
like
that. I know
people
people are
too.
probably surprised to hear that, but I like talking
Well,
to
I'm not
people.
telling you to have ChatGPT be your new pen pal and your new
Yeah.
buddy, like,
But
but
at the
it's
end of the
better
day-
than Google.
At the end of the day, all the information ChatGPT does was created by people.
And Google's so hard. Like, it's so hard to just look something up and get an answer. It's like 4 sponsored ads first, and then just it's based on ranking and SEO. Like, sometimes I just want the answer to a simple
Well,
question, you know?
Google's in trouble. There's a lot of litigation against it for privacy and all that stuff.
Is
And
that right?
oh yeah, oh yeah. So you know, these various AI search platforms, you
Yeah.
know, many think will overtake it at some point.
You guys are right. The like search engines and stuff like that.
yeah.
They're almost unusable.
I mean,
now.
for you,
There's probably
It's
value.
almost
settling
unusable.
arguments, Paul.
No,
this
there's,
is your tool.
there's
Oh, I
probably
know, you
value
could
in
just add
that.
your
I think
fingerprints.
of with the, like the AI. I think more of like replacing humans.
Oh,
and,
that
and
part of
that
it.
kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
No, that's
But you guys
scary.
are talking about searching
Yeah.
and
There's a
things
long
like
way
that.
to go before, like as creatives, it's hard for ChatGPT to emulate what we do creatively. Like, even when
It's already happening.
I know, but like when I can tell right now. I think in a couple years you probably won't be able to tell, but for the time being, it's hard for it to be creative. And
Well, the person, I forget, he's a tech luminary, but he was saying
Fred
you'll,
Kirsch.
you'll never get to the point where AI is making important decisions because you can't hold AI accountable.
yeah,
You can only hold humans accountable.
right.
So, you know, anyway.
Interesting look.
Yeah. All right. 855-PATS-500.
So good job, Spee.
855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcasts at patriots.com is the email address. And again, if you want the newsletter, you can just email the show, podcast at patriots.com. Will automatically add you to the distribution list. Every time I do that, we get another flurry of people. So it's great. We're just adding to that database every week and people getting it. So any teasers, you don't want to give it away, but anything, that you want to talk about coming out in tomorrow's newsletter?
I don't know if I want to give anything away necessarily for tomorrow, but one of the things
Because you haven't started working on it.
there's
I'm
one,
only kidding.
that's not true.
I'm only
I
kidding.
have my
I'm
whole
only
little
kidding.
draft ripping.
All right.
And there's an email you sent me that's going in. You've been teasing it all week, but it got me inspired. Your most hated
Oh,
teams.
yeah.
It got me kind of inspired to do like not quite a mailbag, but it will rotate with all of us, like a PU FAQ.
Okay.
Where like 1 week it'll be Paul, and people send in questions for just Paul, and we'll pick a couple.
Nice.
Make Paul
And these
answer.
are like non-Patriots questions, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you generally. Like we'll
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
appropriate to an extent.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Like, why do I like Speed Queen, for example, or things
yeah,
like that?
just
Yeah.
random
Yeah.
stuff.
Show stuff.
Like the one, it.
I'd be happy
I
to
had
do that
the
every
idea
week.
already, but then someone asking you about your least hated or your most hated teams and your gambling gripes that you have inspired me to like make it a segment.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just
that's
gotta
what
figure
it's all
out
about.
how people can send the questions in.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to we just say.
It could be, I guess, to my
something
email.
in the or something in the subject line.
Yeah.
For Paul
PU
newsletter,
FAQ,
or something like
right.
that. Yeah. We'll figure it out. All right. Good stuff. Today, the coordinators talked.
They did.
Marcus Covington and Alex Van Pelt, and you said you had an eyebrow raiser.
Well, it was, a little. So Alex Van Pelt talked about, some of the things that they've really been working on, trying to improve. Obviously taking care of the football at the top of the list, red zone offense the last couple of weeks, things like that. The press conference continues, and Marcus Jones comes up. You introduced Marcus Jones. How did that come about? And, he kind of told a funny anecdote about, well, Marcus was trying to get in touch with him. He was texting him, and he's thinking, why would Marcus text me? He could just walk up to me in the building like anytime, So he was thinking it was a different Marcus Jones. He started thinking back to his time in Green Bay. There was a guy who had a cup of coffee named Marcus Jones, but why would it be him? So finally he ends up touching base with Marcus Jones, who was lobbying to be part of the offense. Right? Great. Later on, it sort of came up, so why did it, take this long, or why didn't you, and Van Pelt admitted that he wasn't aware that Marcus Jones had experience playing offense, which I thought was my eyebrow raiser.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's so good with the football in his hands. I know I talk about how I think he's the most electric punt returner in the league, and the offensive coordinator wasn't aware. So that caused a little bit of a stir among the media. You like to say what the mood is.
I would say that's kind of a failing on two fronts. One, for Alex Van Pelt not to look up the history of this offense the last 2 years anyway, just to see who's done what. Two, no one told him when he came in.
That's my thought.
Like Gerard or whoever, we used Marcus,
Yeah.
like why? I don't know.
Just for the back pocket,
Yeah, so at some point you would think this season somebody said, hey, when are you going to start using Marcus? Because we've used him
and
before.
It was funny because that's the way
that.
it was sort of broached to him, is like, why this week?
Yeah.
Not like, what made you decide to use Marcus Jones on offense? What was it about this week in particular that made it the right time to use Marcus Jones?
Assuming that he knew.
Correct.
Right.
Assuming this was, kind of in the works. And
What are we doing?
Well, it's funny because people have, not a ton of people, but it's something you've heard, hey, why don't we try Marcus Jones in the receiving?
Just listen
why
to
don't
this
we
show.
try
I was
it?
going to say, if you
And I was
listen
like-
to the original podcast,
And I was
you
like,
know.
maybe it's because he had that season-ending injury last year. They don't want to just ramp him back up into everything.
Right.
But
I mean, there's a million reasons
so that's
why
the excuse I kind of made in my head. Clearly they know. Clearly they have a reason for
Right.
it, right? I guess not.
No.
Yeah,
So,
that's-
and again, I'm not beating up on Alex Van Pelt about it. I just
He's
thought
got a
it
lot
was,
to think about.
as you
Yeah,
said,
the room's crowded
as
already.
you said, it was an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't have to make a huge deal out of it. My guess is my shows will be making a huge deal out of that.
Yeah.
It's on. I mean, the writers are on Twitter. They've tweeted about it. So my guess is the shows will have some fun.
This will be
with
an
that.
indictment. And, poor Alex Van Pelt, though. He's probably got, for 2024, he's probably got the most important job other than Gerard Mayo on this staff, which is cultivating, Drake May. And now I'm watching one of your shows, another one of your shows on TV, NBC Sports Boston, The Beetle and the Zoe Show, and they get Albert Breer, and he's still calling around the league asking now people to evaluate Alex Van Pelt. It's like, get off of it. We don't need outside people evaluating Alex Van Pelt. We can do that right here, where we see him. What do they know about what kind of job he's doing, other than the same thing that we see on Sunday? It's just, Albert, move to some other topic besides Alex Van Pelt.
Very defensive of him.
It's like, why?
I'm with you. I think people are I don't know.
You want to
It's
see
a
how he's
low-hanging
doing?
fruit, I feel like.
Watch Drake May on Sunday. Otherwise, you have no insight, and I'm talking about the people that Albert Breer is talking to outside of this organization. You have no more insight than we do.
True.
And so why is he... Ask the people here how they think he's doing.
That's passionate.
That's my rant. Okay. All right.
The things he gets passionate about sometimes.
No, it's just get off of it. He's like a little dog, biting at his ankles. It's like,
Well, I think the criticism of play calling and whatnot falls into that category. Calling around the league to ask what rival defensive coaches think of how they're handling Drake May. I don't think what's wrong with that? You call the Tennessee defensive coordinator 2 weeks after you played the Titans. Wait, hey, what did you think? How do you think they're doing with? How do you think Alex Van Pelt is doing with Drake May? I think that's relevant.
Right. Oh, but they don't know anything more than we know. All they know is what they see
No,
on
but they're giving
Sunday.
you an unbiased view. They're not giving you
You
the
sure it's
view
unbiased?
from the team.
You sure it's unbiased? Everybody's got an agenda.
No, but it's
Paul.
not as biased as the guys that are actually employing the guy.
Okay. Well, listen,
There's a little difference there.
I just think it's pointless. I don't think it really is giving the viewer, the reader, valuable information.
Okay, well, I think it's extremely valuable to hear from what other people outside the organization think of what you're doing. I think that's valuable. I don't take it all as gospel. I don't take anything as gospel.
But they don't
me,
really
I'm skeptical
know.
of everything.
They have no idea how he's doing with them. All they know is what
They're
they
not
see.
asking how he's doing with them. They're asking how he's running the offense for him. And a lot of them have answered, they're using a lot of, they're trying to run the ball first. They're trying to keep him out of third and long situations. You can't identify that?
But so he needs to call around the league to get that information? We could have told him that. Every offensive coordinator is trying to keep the quarterback out of third and long.
But no one really cares what Paul Perillo thinks of how they're doing with
but
Alex Van Pelt.
But my point is that's all they can tell him. They can't give him any insight. What offensive coordinator doesn't want to keep their quarterback out of third and long situations? We love it here in Seattle. That's
Fred,
ridiculous.
Like now you're being Andy-like now.
No, but that's what they said, and I read the
Yeah,
lower
I know,
third.
and I think there's
trying
value
to
to
keep
that.
Drake May out of third and long. Okay, great.
Right,
You
so-
needed to call around the league to find
So
that
in
out?
turn, they're probably holding him back a little bit because they're so conscious of making sure they stay ahead of the chains. So they probably have more to come. I look at that, Alex, as something to be excited about because I think there's more there. When they stop treating him like a rookie quarterback that they're hell-bent on keeping out of third and long, I think he can be even better.
Well,
that's how I interpret it. But Fred just gets mad because someone's talking about their offensive coordinator for a different team.
That's
Evidently,
right.
you're not allowed to do that.
That's right. They actually asked Van
Like,
Pelt.
I don't understand. Like,
I feel like when mom and dad are fighting and they're like wanting you to pick a side, or,
these
or
are
like
weird.
when you're at
Like,
your
these are
friend's
weird
house,
things.
you're at your friend's house and your friend's arguing with their mom, and the mom's like, "Right, Alex," and you're
Yeah,
like,
right,
"I don't
right,
want
right.
But it's
I
like
don't
this."
I look
I'm
like
going to go
Fred,
to my
like,
room now.
Fred and I are actually in very much agreement that Van Pelt is doing a pretty nice job with Drake May. I don't really see what the problem is of asking
He's trying
what
to
other
cause
people.
trouble.
What other
you
people
know what
are
he's
thinking.
doing. He's trying to cause
It's
trouble.
a little bit of
If he was
stirring
trying
the
to
pot,
cause
maybe,
trouble, he
but
wouldn't be writing it.
It's up to us to give it the level of credence we want to give. I mean, you would hope that like another team's defensive coordinator doesn't have that many resources of their time to pay too much attention to it to
It's
give
just
you an exact diagnosis.
Absolutely, I totally agree. It's a glossed over look. I think I could see some of the things they're trying to do with them. I could see, some of the things that they're doing. I can understand why it's smart to take them. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't really understand why. Like, if they were killing Alex Van Pelt, I would understand you saying, "Whoa." Like,
They're
what are
trying
these
to.
guys outside? No, they're not trying to. It's exactly the
No,
opposite.
I'm talking about Breer.
If he was trying to do that, he wouldn't have written them. He wouldn't have written the quotes that he got
Yeah.
because they're all positive.
Well, that's what they said.
If it was a hatchet job, you'd bury it.
Yeah, but he's looking.
And by the way, Albert Breer is the opposite of doing a hatchet job because he's embedded in the coaching staff. So he ain't looking to kill this coaching
you
staff.
got news
Believe
here?
me.
You know
Have you
something?
not been listening all year? They've been talking about it the whole season.
Van Pelt did say something about they're getting to the point now where they've been using everything, but there's a little bit more to come. Didn't he have something along those lines in terms of the types of play calling?
I don't.
No, you don't have.
I didn't say no. I
Oh.
said I don't know.
Okay, all right. Anyway,
The things that get like
Hot
put a
start,
bee in
hot
your
start.
bonnet.
Patriots trying to keep May out of third and long.
Oh my God, you're so Andy-like right now. It's ridiculous. Like you're fixating on some
It's
minutia.
like that's the headline. Oh God. All right. 855.
No, the headline is people outside the organization think Alex Van Pelt's doing a nice job with a rookie quarterback. That's the headline.
Well, yeah, they are now because they have no choice because that's the truth.
So would you rather they lie?
No, I don't
understand what you're looking
I'd rather
for.
him move on to something else. This has been like 3 weeks now where Albert Breer
It came
and
out
Alex
Monday.
Van Pelt.
It's not 3 weeks. That was just written Monday in his notebook.
No.
I read it when he posted
This
it.
one, last week it was the Patriots are calling around about AVP.
Yes.
It's
That
all
was-
AVP all the time. With
That
him.
was the Where did he get it?
I don't know,
Okay.
but he now he's trying to make up for it by doing this other thing.
Trying to make up for it.
It's nuts. It's absolutely.
So
nuts.
this is true. That wasn't.
I don't know what's true,
Okay.
but I'm just saying that there's other things going on in the league. I would think.
Yeah. Do you ever read his notes?
No.
He writes like thousands of words, and like 500 of them are about the Patriots.
Do you read them?
Yes, I read. He posts them on Monday.
Okay.
I don't always read every single thing he writes, but I usually breeze through the topics.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, he wrote about Dallas a little bit and the mess there. He wrote about the Jets situation with Joe Douglas, which I find fascinating. Alex, did you know that Woody Johnson wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers?
I saw grumblings of that on
When
Twitter.
do you find that interesting at all?
Very much so.
I thought that was.
I
an
think
athletic,
it's really interesting.
I thought that was an
Yeah,
athletic
I know,
story.
and it was.
Yeah.
I think it came from the Athletic, but Breer wrote about Joe
He
Douglas too.
regurgitated it.
No. He wrote about Joe Douglas. The Athletic wrote about the Aaron Rodgers stuff. But I'm just thinking about the Jets. I was wondering if Alex had seen that. I found that fascinating, that the owner of the team wanted to bench a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting stuff to me. Fred wouldn't be interested because it might have come from outside the building.
No, I
don't
get the
know.
Athletic newsletter, so I've read that from the Athletic.
Yeah, it was in the Athletic. It was. These are two separate things. Whatever. You're in a mood today, so I'm going to let it
You
go.
guys should be roommates.
You're in a mood.
All right. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. We got picks, so we got to hurry. So let's get back to some of these emails coming in from people. Jordan writes in, he says, I get very nervous emailing the world's original podcast, so please forgive my feeble ignorance. I'm wondering what the pressure must be like for you all to show up to set each and every day. The wherewithal you all have to show up and perform under pressure far exceeds my comprehension. I got a feeling he's being sarcastic.
Yes.
Not only that, but to know that millions are waiting with bated breath for your Thursday picks must be intimidating. I would like to know what measures you all take to prepare for each day. I think that's kind of, I think he's kidding around, right?
Yeah,
This is a labor of love.
I would say that's for sure.
This part of our job is the
It
easy
ain't a
part.
labor of revenue, I can tell you that.
This is the easy part. You know,
Welcome.
here comes Deuce.
If only he
Just
knew
in
what
time.
he was walking into.
The locker room. What was the mood? Were the players friendly to that? None of them looked like Derrick Henry. Hey Mike, what was it like in the locker room? Hey Mike, what was it like in the locker room?
Hey, Mike, what was it
Hi.
like?
Oh, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. No, it was a nice day. Heard from Cole Strange though, which was kind of fun.
Did he go to Five Guys?
He's just the most thoughtful guy I think I've ever heard
Nice guy.
interviewed in a football
Nice guy.
setting in my life. Like every question you ask him, it's like it's never occurred to him to even think about it. And he's gonna do
That
like
look
a deep.
of wonder he has.
Like-
No, he really. I know exactly what he's talking about. He'll be like,
Was the process hard for you, Cole? And he's like,
he takes like a breath, a pause.
yeah.
never-
I mean,
never
you know,
thought
it
of it.
actually really was hard for
never
me.
really
like,
thought of it.
I know.
So
No, it's
wholesome.
great.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he talked about how hard it was coming back and torn patellar tendon in his left knee, and
I
said
got
that
right yesterday, Fred.
yeah, he had to learn how to re-walk again. You know, he talked about that process. Talked about having his leg in a splint and not being able to bend it, and he's like, I needed help to go to the bathroom, and you know, it was really hard
Rosie
to.
Colvin.
Oh, is that with his hip too? Yeah,
When he
similar.
broke his hip,
similar?
he goes, I'm just worried about how I'm going to have my next bowel movement.
Yeah, he said going from that point though to thinking how am I gonna play in the NFL again. So he seemed really excited, just taking it day by day, but felt pretty good. One other nugget I thought was funny. He said, I got out there and I felt kind of just rusty but we went and watched the film. He's like, I thought I actually looked I looked okay. So I was encouraged by that. A lot of questions about playing center as well. He talked about that process of needing obviously this offense with Alex Van Pelt. They make the calls on the line. So
Did he give any indication of what percentage he feels he's back? Like I'm 100% or
no, they kind of asked him that, like, how long do you think it might
Yeah.
be before? And he said, to be honest, I just have one practice under my belt, so we're just going to take it day by day right now, see how
health-wise.
it goes.
Yeah.
It sounded like
Yeah.
he felt pretty good.
Okay.
A couple minor setbacks, he said. I mean, the frustration was the thing that stood out to me. He just said it was really hard. It was a really hard process for him. Felt like he was coming on a little bit last year, late in the year. I think somebody mentioned that Bill had given him some praise about how he was playing at the time, and he just said it was really really frustrating. And one other quote he said was just like, I realized how much I need football. So good to hear from him. Good to get him back. Marcus Jones also spoke, so plenty of questions about the text Alex Van Pelt and how he got in there and all that. So that was good. Christian Gonzalez and the theme just continues to be dealing with Miami's speed. That's the hard thing, and how good Tua is and how good this offense is with Tua at center.
Yeah. So you will listen to the coordinators.
I was there.
Any notes?
Well, you guys already
Beside
talked
the
about it a
Marcus
little
Jones
bit.
thing, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I just said I love Alex Van Pelt. I mean, he's really grown on me. I just think he doesn't put things through a filter. He just tells you what he's thinking, and I just enjoy listening to him. It's gotten a little bit, like Bill. He always felt like it's kind of going through a filter. He's not going to tell you everything except for maybe Fridays when you found that was interesting when he'd get into his little football nerddom.
Well, yeah, but he'd tell you something about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He didn't tell you anything about what's going on now.
No, that's totally fair. But with Van Pelt, I feel like he kind of tells it how it is, and I think the Marcus Jones thing was kind of an example of that, of
Absolutely.
something you might want to hold back, but at the same time, he's just kind of an open book when they ask him questions. So I think he deserves credit, and I enjoy listening to him. DeMarcus Covington, I feel like we're just kind of whistling around it right now that this defense hasn't been good enough. And, I thought Andrew Callahan had a good question. It's just like, you've got one turnover in the last 5 games. Have you thought about changing things up at all or incorporating something new to try to spur turnovers? And I know talking with Evan after the press conference, it was, I think turnovers are just kind of a result of a defense that's
it's not
really
like something
good.
You can say, okay, here's how we're going to get turnovers.
You're taking the game to them. You're pushing the pace. You're making the ball come out early. You're hitting guys before they're ready to get hit.
Right.
Those kind of things. So I think star players kind of help really feed into those kind of turnovers. So they haven't been able to catch it. But I just thought of this though, like, not to go sideways, but like 2011's defense stunk, but they got turnovers like crazy, and they were able to get to the Super Bowl. 2010, I think, too. Like those 2 years, they were a terrible defense by all metrics, except turnovers.
I say all
I
the
think
time,
that really crossed a lot of
creating
things off.
turnovers isn't necessarily an indication of great defense. And in those cases, I would say it was great offense. So you always have the team in bad situations because Brady is pounding you into submission, and you're throwing the ball way more than you want to. You're playing catch up way more than you want to, and that's when turnovers come.
Yeah, or you behind the sticks too a little bit. I mean, that's yeah. So, that was the mood in the locker room. Devon Godshaw as well, talking about the difference between when you play for Miami and play against Miami, and again the location of the sideline benches came up, but he seems really we're due down there. We really feel good about what we're doing. So. We'll see, but he had a lot of respect for Tua and just how good this offense is with him and how quick the ball comes out. So a lot of get your hands up, try to get them in long situations, and that was a key theme I think that's probably being told to these guys. Get them to third down. Try to get them to third down. So
I've said it before. Tua reminds me in terms of his accuracy and anticipation of Drew Brees.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, Fred. That's a good one. I agree. I mean, it's so hard because sometimes you look at it and it's like Tyreek Hill. It's like. Not only is he not turned around, like he's not even out of his thinking about his break yet, and it's like Tua's already launching it in there.
Yeah, that is he does that a lot too, where like Tyreek Hill runs to the ball.
Yeah.
Like he runs these crossing routes where he catches up to the ball.
Yeah, totally.
It's almost like the frisbee
fetch.
dogs.
Yeah. The frisbee dogs.
Yep.
Grabs it. So.
But it also reminded me one of the other things Van Pelt mentioned. He was asked specifically about the last interception, and I think it's pretty clear that Douglas kept going and should have been throttling back, looking back, because they would have had a chance to make a play.
Yeah.
Right? Based on what Van Pelt said on that.
That safety was lurking right behind there.
But he didn't say it was going to be a catch.
Yeah.
I think he felt like that's
at least
where
wouldn't have been an interception.
That's where the hole should have been.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask Mike about, and I didn't bring this up after the press conference. Covington did mention that Barmore would be out there today after not being out there yesterday.
Yeah.
not injury related, other, not
Yeah.
personal,
Yeah.
not illness or whatever, just said other. Is that, you think, just like sort of monitoring
I hope so.
the blood clots? But because my question would be, the game was Sunday, this is Wednesday. Like, how much time has to go by? And speaking completely, out of ignorance here, I don't know. I don't know the
No.
answer to this.
And they
Neither.
weren't in pads yesterday, were
No.
they?
No, they went down to shells. That's a good question, Paul. I mean, this is probably not it. One thing I thought, I know usually Wednesdays are first and second down days, so maybe it's the kind of thing where we're going to have him more on passing downs, and that's so we can afford to give him a rest. But I don't. That doesn't.
Are
totally
they going
make
to
sense.
be in pads today? Did they switch it up?
I did not.
They
see.
did
didn't
move
notice?
into the
Yeah,
bubble.
I don't think so. Though.
Yeah, I know they're
they are
going
in the bubble. I don't
inside.
think they're in
So
pads.
are
I
they-
don't think
No.
so either.
You think they're turning up the heat?
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, I think it was just because
Yeah.
of the rain. Because
Yeah,
they
but
had
it's
said it
like
yesterday.
drizzling. It's hardly anything.
I don't know, but they had said it ahead of time that they were going to do it.
No,
if
they
it-
said
if
they were
it
going to go
rained.
in the bowl, and then they
you're
moved
right.
to the bubble.
You are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct.
So I thought, oh my God, the heavens are going to open up today, but it's like
No.
drizzle.
you
I
are
like it,
correct. They
though.
said the bowl.
I
Yes.
just wouldn't want the players talking about I'm cold, I'm wet. Like that's not going to be an issue this weekend. Let's get in the bubble. Maybe get a little heat. I mean, even if they don't turn the heat up, it's going to be warmer
It's
than
hot
if they
in
were
there
outside.
exactly as it is.
You know, stuffy. It's not good. But
Is it still humid this time of year in Fort Lauderdale? You know,
I think it's
I
humid
feel
all
like
the
it's
time.
always
Really?
humid
Sounds
and
like your department.
always
You
humid
got
in
family
South
down there,
Florida.
right? Yeah.
My
Do you?
va. Shout out to my va.
Yeah.
My grandma's in West Palm.
okay,
See, Alex knows a little.
65% humidity right now.
65. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
I'll take that. Jeffrey in Canada writes in on the TPX hotline. Fred is now picking fights with robots.
That's what it looks like too. I saw the transcript. It's getting testy. Well, it was Spee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. to read.
Please ask who should get into the hall first, Eli or Adam, so we can solve that argument.
No, I
I'm
think
looking
we're
f-
all in agreement on that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Adam.
the list of past talent on the show in the newsletter, including the he who should not be named, who for some reason I always thought was Aaron Hernandez.
Do I have to sit down and try to come up with a roster?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
mean,
way
who
I'm
better
going to
to do
remember.
that?
There's no way I'm going to remember everybody though.
Really?
But the actual, like the regulars or
Yeah.
people that have been on the show.
Oh, that's the part that's
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
I mean,
There's been
we,
a lot of,
we
like,
even had Howie
interlopers.
Long as a guest.
Really?
Oh, I
yeah,
can-
Wow.
he
Fred.
accused Andy of taking
I
steroids.
told him to stay off the juice.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
I don't know. Andy was popping off
we,
about
we
something.
were making fun of Andy for being on
Did he
juice.
call in or was he physically?
No,
he
he
was
was
here.
sitting right in our studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to remember every guest. But I'm
Okay.
talking about like
But there were some like,
like
guest
people that-
stars, kind of
people
like
that
people
worked-
that pop
no,
up
people
from
that
show to time
worked
to time.
here, that in different, like Frank Todick. You
Yeah.
Remember Frank?
Yeah, sure.
You know, those kind, Shane Donaldson, like people that were here for whatever amount of time. Francis Connolly,
Yeah.
franchise.
Yeah.
Francis.
Yeah, we had a lot.
Psycho.
We had a
So
lot.
Eli gets in first simply because he was a quarterback.
Oh, okay.
That's
told-
what ChatGPT
Oh.
is saying?
So
Yes,
now
it
you're
is.
gonna get in another fight now.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your prompt, Matt?
It's like
I will
who
scroll
should
very
get
to the
in?
top.
This loser Eli Manning or
Who
the
should get into the
all-time
Pro Football Hall of Fame first, Eli Manning or Adam Vinatieri? And then it gave me a whole
put in like
thing. And then
NFL all-time leading
conclusion,
scorer.
In terms of immediate induction, Eli Manning likely has the edge due to his prominent role at quarterback in postseason heroics.
heroics.
Oh,
Postseason
because Adam
heroics.
Vinatieri doesn't have postseason heroics.
He's and here we
The
go.
greatest kick in
Mike,
NFL
just to let you know,
history.
He's in a bit of a
I didn't
mood.
read
Is
it,
he?
Fred.
What?
What?
I said I didn't read
I'm
it.
not. Yeah, I'm yelling at her or him or it.
What did I miss earlier? Was there something went
Oh
down?
no, we,
So Spee had prompted ChatGPT to figure out if we were indeed the world's original podcast.
Oh, and it said
and Fred was not having some of the responses.
no, he wasn't either.
Arguing
Yeah.
back.
But at the end of the day, it concluded that we are.
Yes.
oh, really?
Fred
Yeah.
convinced
Okay,
it.
then,
Yeah.
then that's
It's
good.
wrong kind of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I would never use that for anything and not double check it all.
Yeah, you definitely have to double check it, but it's wrong in like silly ways sometimes. One time I was trying to look up what was older, I think Montauk or Newport, and it listed exactly the year of when each town was incorporated and then said Montauk was older. And I was like, but you said that Newport was incorporated 2 years earlier. So what do you mean? And it was like, oh yeah, haha, you're right. Sorry. It's like, okay.
It does that a lot.
Well,
it just
yeah.
gives up.
But it's all
Yeah.
based
It
on
doesn't argue back.
information that's on the internet, correct?
Right.
Yeah. It
Right.
has
I mean,
to be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all know that anything you see on the internet has to be true,
No.
right?
No, I got Lane onto it. She started using it just for like busy work, like having to like write an email. Like, you know, sometimes you have to write an email you don't really want to write, and she's I got her onto that.
I officiated my cousin's wedding last year, and I had ChatGPT write it. I said, "These are all the stats. Please write me a 15-minute wedding."
No,
ceremony."
all my friends have been doing
for a
that
wedding?
too.
What kind of stats is that?
You know, this is my cousin. She's marrying this guy. I haven't met him yet. Make a joke about this kind of thing.
He's 6-0 in dome games. Try to work that in somehow to the wedding. I'm sure everyone will love it.
Jason writes in. He says, this week's game against Miami is a make-or-break game for me with these coaches.
Oh.
A divisional opponent you've seen once this year, and an offense, specifically Drake May, on the rise. I expect these coaches to come out with a winning game plan. I will not be nearly as worried if the players lose the game as I will be if they come out with a bad game plan. This is a team you're supposed to know inside and out, and they aren't playing particularly well. Do you guys agree? He says 27-23 Patriots.
They're 0-6 against Tua.
What do we consider last week's game? Was that a bad game plan loss, or was that the players' loss?
According to the experts,
But that's my point.
the defense
How
says
do
it
you
was
know?
a bad game plan.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Like, if we're just going to say if they lose, it was a bad game plan, then why are we going to wait to see how it unfolds? Like, I don't care what the game plan was last week. The other team's players were better. That's why they lost. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. And you had the greatest coach of all time trying to come up with a plan to get a win over this team, and he wasn't able to do it. So I think you're putting a little bit too much on this game right now.
It's an easy crutch to just say, well, they lost because they had a bad game plan.
Yeah. And nobody loves divisional games more than me. Like, nobody makes more of a deal of
No
those
one
than
hates
I
them
do.
more than me.
You know, but I mean, I think it just comes down to talent. I mean, I would love it if they came up with something to slow this offense down. I mean, I got to do more of a little deep dive, though, Paul. Maybe I could use your brain for that. Like, I'm like, was it really McDaniel taking the Patriots defense to the woodshed with Tua, or was it just kind of 6 games that unfolded? And I mean, I know they had a chance to win a couple of those that were offset by turnovers near the end, or
I would
don't
say
know.
for the most part, they have not run roughshod over the Patriots with
Because
Tua.
Tua's like 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions,
Yeah.
something like that. It's not.
Now, some of those
numbers.
games have unfolded in like I would say like week 2 last year would be an example. Like the Patriots had a very hard time stopping the Dolphins on that
Yep.
Sunday night game. But at the end of the day, you look up, it was only 24 points. Miami missed a couple of field goals. The end of the game, I think they were in scoring range when they kneeled on the ball. Like, they drove down the field at the end and ran out the clock.
Yep.
So I think they could have scored over 30 had they been sharper. But the bottom line is they only scored 24 points.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it's been an example of they're just
Up and down the field on
dominating
you every time. I mean, I remember like a Damian Harris fumble, I think, in 21 maybe. They're going down to maybe take the lead or tie it, and Harris fumbled it, and they go down. Like there were moments like that in some of these games where you felt like – I remember the other one with Mac down there, maybe 22, the opener, where – you were probably there, Alice,
Yeah,
right?
week 1.
Like, and there was like a interception right on the first drive.
Weird
Yeah.
things have
You were
happened
kinda
down
behind
there.
the 8 ball, I think.
Remember, was it Kevin Falk who fumbled on the goal line that one year? God, you remember that stuff, right? No?
Yeah.
Suddenly we got Kevin Falk in the
Well, I'm just saying over the years,
Gronk,
other than the
yeah.
Miami Miracle, I mean, that
Yeah.
was crazy, but some
No,
weird,
I mean, there's
weird
been-
stuff have happened.
like weird stuff. I would put the corpse of Steven Jackson game in the weird stuff happened when Bill
Yep.
just decided I'm going to run the ball every play of the whole
Right.
first half.
Why?
Like,
Why did he do that? What was going on? That was a lot of
I don't-
injuries,
I
right?
don't
I remember
know.
that, but still.
I don't know. I don't remember a lot of injuries, to be honest with you. I have no idea what he was thinking.
Yeah. Jordan in Kansas writes in, I have a bad feeling about the defense. The Miami offense likes the motion as well as the Rams, and if we have Gonzo on the outside guarding Odell or Malik Washington instead of Waddle or Hill, I'm going to turn my TV off. I have no faith in DeMarcus Covington adjusting to this high-motion offense, especially with Tua running the show. Final point. Linebacker is a real sneaky need for next year. It feels like every time we play zone, there's a wide-open man in the middle of the field and a linebacker being caught with his feet in the mud.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think it's an interesting how you approach it because you get Juwan Bentley back, but, he's starting to get up there a little bit, and you just can't get caught next year like you were caught this year. I love when you steal Evan's Diet Pepsi.
Me too.
He doesn't know.
It's not enough. Just put the empty
Don't be-
bag for
Don't
him.
be a rat.
Put the empty one there.
But I do think they need to build in a little bit of a contingency plan next year to just have a complementary interior player. Like, I mean, I think even Elandon Roberts was here when Bentley was here.
Elandon.
Not that he specifically is the answer or, but just a downhill inside linebacker who can stop the run and, is comfortable inside. It doesn't seem like Jelani Tavai is comfortable inside doing all the things that the inside linebacker
So that's really
has
interesting.
to do.
Would you rather, that kind of a solution, maybe get a veteran like a Landon Roberts, not saying it has to be Roberts, but someone who fills that kind of role,
Yeah.
or would you rather see if they could find, a Roquan Smith?
Oh, boy.
Now
we're
and I don't mean
Now we're
necessarily as a
talking.
free agent. I'm saying, would you look for a 3-down linebacker who can play the run and doesn't necessarily have to come off the field?
I would love that. I would love it. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about Juwan Bentley. I think he's a leader on this team. I think he's a physical player, but I think ultimately they're going to need the next guy for that defense eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I just think back to, and not all of those guys panned out, but like Patrick Queen and Kenneth Murray and Devin
Lloyd.
White, those guys. Devin Bush was another one. Like,
Oh, the Devons.
there was like 5 or 6 of these guys that came out. They've
One of
all,
them was in the Cole Strange draft.
They've
right?
all been decent players.
Devin Lloyd. Yeah, from
Yeah.
Jacksonville. Yeah,
Um,
he's been pretty good.
But some of them haven't necessarily been what they were supposed to be. And Nakobe Dean was kind of that kind of player, but he
Yeah.
was so banged up. Like, you don't necessarily have to take those guys, at the top of the first round.
Sure.
No.
Some of them have been
Not these
hi-
days.
Some of them have been high draft picks, but some of those other guys weren't.
What was Landon Roberts? He was like a 6th or 7th round pick. Right?
Landon Roberts is a early down guy.
Yeah,
He's not an
yeah.
every down.
Yeah, I know. I
linebacker.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But those other, some of those guys were first round picks,
Mhm.
and that's what you have to do to get those. But I would be interested in trying to find one of those rather than just plugging it in with a veteran.
Me too.
Cal in Chicago is a longtime listener, occasional emailer, former paper subscriber, former sender of Chicago popcorn. And he wants to guess at my 5 most hated teams.
Okay.
Oh.
well.
Now, so can you do this without giving it away?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he says Jets, number 1, Spygate and just general disgust. 2, Colts, Deflategate and plenty of other things. 3, Broncos. I know they're a team of his youth, but Sharp on the phone calling the National Guard cements them. 4, the Dolphins, just because. And 5, now I'm guessing, but New York Giants for ruining several seasons. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
How close is
I'm
he?
just going to guess, and I don't know
sniffing.
the answers, but I'm going to guess that you have 2 out of the 5.
We'll
And
see.
I'm not going to. I'm going to respect
Interesting.
Fred's privacy.
Interesting.
Privacy.
Well, I just don't want to spoil it for our newsletter.
I think there's
Absolutely.
definitely
Yeah, I got
one
the list
missing.
right
Yeah, there was definitely one missing.
Oh, look at her.
Well,
I got the.
I was trying to check in real
There
time
is,
what they said.
there is without question one that I know for certain
Right.
was not included in that
Oh yeah.
list.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Highly anticipated.
stay mum. Stay mum.
Yeah, and you can't tell us later either. We
Yeah,
need to be
I wanna be
surprised.
surprised when that email
it's coming
comes in
out
tomorrow.
Friday. Well, you guys will see the draft. You want me to exclude you from the draft?
Oh no, I can see the draft.
Okay, so you'll see it today.
I'd have to
Okay.
read it,
6
but
p.m.
I could see the draft.
Yeah. See, we're gaining excitement for the newsletter.
The,
That's good.
the numbers have been great.
Yeah?
I don't know about you. I was
Oh, yeah?
thrilled with
Yeah.
our numbers.
Yeah.
The open rate's great.
What is that? Is that what
So,
open rate?
I
Okay,
was
so
going to
people
say,
that open.
explain
yeah,
that.
I know.
Explain that as if I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
that to the
open
crowd.
rate. It's a really complicated term, but it actually
really
refers
isn't.
to how many people open the email.
That's not
And then there's something called
Don't
the
be-
click rate.
Beth. don't do that to me.
Oh, you're touching a nerve here.
I meant, how do you know all that? Like, what?
Well, no,
you
because
know.
we send from a platform. It's our good partner at Salesforce, I
Yep.
believe. And
They give us the
so
analytics.
when you send it to the platform, they track everything. How many got it? How many opened it? What they clicked on? So
Yeah.
you can do like heat maps. You can look at
How
the
long?
You can look at the newsletter. You can see where people clicked.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
And
sounds
the
fun.
click rate.
She didn't
it's-
leave me on unread.
No. The open rate's really high considering how many like old emails we have that people have probably abandoned by now.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what's cool. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. People who
I was pretty excited.
people
to
who
see
emailed the
numbers.
show in 07, you
All
know,
of a sudden.
Yeah.
either change their email or aren't with us
Right.
anymore.
Oh.
You know, you never know. I mean, with us, like engaged.
On the show.
Rest
Brad,
in
Won't be
peace,
down
though,
for
if you're not
breakfast.
with us.
Brad in Windsor, Vermont, Dan Orlovsky this morning on Get Up, aired on ESPN, has redrafted the QBs for 2024. His order was as follows. Number 1, Daniels. Number 2, May.
Yeah.
Number 3, Williams. Number 4, Nix.
Saw this.
Just by Paul's infamous eye test, we can see that May is playing better than Williams. We can also see that Daniels is starting to slip. Is there any chance that at the end of the year, everyone will be talking about Drake May being the top QB in the class? Absolutely.
If you're going to go, but if you're going to do that fairly, Bo Nix is at the top right now.
Yeah.
On the eye test.
Yeah.
Now, I think Bo Nix is asked to do the least of those 4 guys.
But his numbers are good.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal last
Yeah.
week. He threw for over 300 yards and 4
Right.
touchdowns,
Yeah.
and against a good team.
Yeah.
And by the way, tricky element of this, he's winning the games.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So if you
kind
want to
of
be
important.
if you want to be fair about it,
Faya.
that would be the thing. Where I sort of had my eyebrows raised for Orlovsky is no mention of the fact that he wanted to sit him not 1
I
but 2
know.
years.
Oh, yeah.
You
yeah.
should save that.
He says he's really close
Cold
to
takes
putting
exposed.
Oh, yeah.
Drake. And I'm not here to make fun of his take.
Yes, I am.
But I'm not.
It's not making fun of the take. It's just like, hey, remember when you said this a couple weeks ago?
I'm making fun of the fact that
Acknowledge it.
he has seemingly refused to acknowledge the take.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
what about
Everybody,
Well, he's Mac's
everybody
buddy.
misses. I'm not
you
telling.
gotta-
I'm not telling you that he should not.
Yeah,
he should be drawn and quartered because his take was wrong.
No, but just say, hey, Lycan, I was off.
Everybody misses.
Yeah.
If you're in the opinion business, you're not going to be right all the time.
Right, and-
so when you're wrong, you say it.
Who was the one? Was it Chris Sims who said he's going to get a coaches fired?
Yep.
No,
Oh.
it was Merrill Hodge.
Oh,
Yeah.
Merrill
Hodge,
Hodge,
sorry,
right?
yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Chris.
You're out there. So
Fred,
sorry.
I thought we were
Oh,
boys.
he watches. I'm
But
sure.
again, I'm not criticizing the take.
Yeah.
But if Merrill Hodge
Right.
goes on now and says,
You gotta have
Drake
takes.
May's the best quarterback in this draft,
Yeah.
and never says, which surprises me because I thought he would be
a coach killer,
a coach killer.
right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with if he says all of that, but you're not telling the whole story. By Dan Orlovsky not telling the fact that he thought he needed to sit not 1 but 2 years before he'd be ready, and now telling you he is really close to saying I would take him 1 overall,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
is only telling half of the story. And by the way, Jaden Daniels is also hurt. Like, that's part of
Yeah.
his
Slip.
sort of leveling off.
Yeah.
And again, they're winning the games.
Right.
That needs to count.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Diego is an Argentinian fan living in Milford, Connecticut. I discovered the podcast last year, and since then I've tried not losing any single podcast. My name is Diego. I live in Milford. I will tell you in another email how I became a Patriots fan, but I have 2 questions for the time being. 1, on Tuesday's podcast, you mentioned the possibility of Belichick going to the Jaguars, but you missed to mention that he will be coaching Mac again. Wouldn't that be hilarious or very sad for Mac Jones?
Mac wouldn't be on the team.
First order of business.
No, Mac's a free agent. They're
Yeah.
not going to re-sign him.
Okay. All right. But it's kind of funny. 2, regarding Mac Jones, during his first season, when we got to the playoffs, what were you saying about him? What did you think his ceiling was?
About Mac?
Mac. I think back then
If you're asking what I thought
Yeah.
is different than everybody else. I thought he was a stiff.
No, I thought I was excited that they got to the playoffs in his first year, and I was hoping because I saw the drop off in the second half of the year that in second year he'd take that big jump,
Yeah. Me too.
and then the Patricia thing happened and everything fell apart.
Yeah, that's about how I put it. I mean, I was definitely more optimistic or holding out hope probably longer
Yeah.
about him. I'd say now, having watched Drake do what Drake has done, it certainly affects how I look back on Mac now and some of the things that we weren't seeing, which is, I think it's just more a credit to Drake of how much he's improved. And it's just, I think I went on a rant on Tuesday about it's just so noticeable. Like, I've never seen a kid like, all right, really make strides within the season. And, some of the things that we talked about with the Dan Orlovsky, like, it looks pretty good right now. And I think as good as solid as Mac was. Can I call him solid out of the gate? Was that is that a good word?
I wouldn't.
Solid? No.
I wouldn't, but
He was okay. He was okay out of the gate. I mean, he seemed to understand what was going on. He had some pocket presence. But, you didn't see the progress. And
He wasn't
it wasn't
tested.
just his fault.
He wasn't tested that first half. They coddled him, and
Yeah.
that was a big mistake. Diego also says, these days we are all talking about how impressive May looks right now and that he might be the one. Did you think the same about Mac, or always thought it was going to be average. Yeah, I didn't have.
I thought there'd always be limitations. There'd always be limitations, and I
Yeah.
think I might have fooled myself into believing that they can overcome it if they have enough and they play, complementary football and everything kind of works together. They'll be okay.
He would be okay in that scenario.
Yeah, but it's
if you had
really
the
hard to get
absolute
there.
best team in football and didn't ask him to do anything outside of the box, he'd be able to hand the ball off and throw the ball 3 yards,
It's
and
backup quarterback.
you'd be all right.
Yeah.
Brian from Plymouth has been emailing every show asking for an update on the security guard who got wiped out on Sunday. He said that was rough to watch.
Ooh.
Those people need backup cams so they can see the play coming. In any event, both the security guard and Pop need to learn the art of the look back when your back is to the play. See what you did there.
That's good.
From what I understand, she's fine.
Oh, great.
We did get an update. Matt Morrell looked into it, and she's doing fine.
Great.
Not like in the hospital or anything. She's fine.
Looked like she hit her head. That's what I was worried
That
about.
was scary.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, after I eat, more of your calls and emails. Evan, we assume, will be back from the locker room at some point.
I'll be back from a practice in the bubble.
He's going to walk through the
Bubble,
rain
I'm
to
sorry,
get out
right,
there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's in the bubble. We'll talk to him when he gets back. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Good morning. Hey. Look, as always, win, lose, or draw on Wednesday, we changed the page. No different this week. I did, have an opportunity today in the squad meeting to kind of show the areas that we've improved at and things that we just have to get better at. And I think the guys really took that stuff to heart. One thing just on both sides of the ball as far as targets are concerned is protecting the football and the takeaways. Like, we just have to do a better job in those two areas. It's good to get back in the division. I will say, this isn't the same Dolphins team that we played before. That was also a reminder to the guys where you feel like a team at the same time. They're going to do things different, and Tua's here. And you can see just the difference in that offense with Tua out there. Very good player for him. You talk about their receivers, obviously one word to describe those guys are it's just fast. Those guys are blazers, and we have some fast guys on defense too, so this, will probably be a little bit more of a matchup game. But those guys have fast players on the outside. I will say the backs don't get enough love. I think their running backs are very good, especially with the scheme that they run. And then the tight end, Jonu's doing a good job and has been coming on as of late as far as his run after catch stuff. So doing a good job for him there. Defensively, starts up front with the bigs, Seiler and Campbell. Very active up front. It's going to be a challenge or an opportunity for us to go out there and do a good job on those guys. Once you get the down guys there, you go to the next level. I would say Brooks is doing a good job as the season continues to progress. And then obviously in the back end, you have some good players there in Ramsey and Holland and the rest of those guys. So definitely going to be a huge challenge for us. One piece of good news, Cole Strange will return to practice today, which is exciting. Not only just for him to get back out there, but just understanding the journey that he has taken to even get to this point. And oftentimes those things get, get looked over, but it is a journey. Anytime you're coming back from injury, which I know the feeling. It's not a straight line to getting back to, the way you used to play. It takes time going through rehab and all those things. It's been a long year for Cole, but again, excited to have him out there. Questions?
Sir. Dave, go ahead. Is there a timeline for when Cole may be able to return to the game field, or are you kind of just taking it day by day?
Yeah, we just got to take it day by day. Like I said, it's his first time going to be out there, first time out there. Just take it one day at a time.
You mentioned previously that Cole can see snaps at center. Will he focus on center when it comes back, or will it be play guard?
Well, first I think just going through the individual drills and see how he responds to that stuff is the most important thing. He does have the flexibility to play center and play guard. He's been getting extra work at center. Dave Andrews has done a good job with him as well. Going back to, a guy that, he's on IR for the year, but just his leadership remains in the building. And one of those tasks has been, to help Cole understand the center position while he wasn't able to be on the practice field.
When you look at Miami, I'm sure you looked at this, I think 4 straight, you've lost 6 of 7. Do you do anything different as a head coach? Do you go down earlier? How do you look at what goes on in Miami for you guys as a franchise?
Yeah, I would say this year it's, when you go to Miami at this point in the year, it's a lot different than going to Miami at the beginning of the year. And so for us, it comes down to execution. That's what it comes down to.
We didn't ask you about this earlier, but obviously the team moved on from Tyquan Thornton, saw you in Kansas City. Just your thoughts on what went into the decision.
Yeah, I think, there was a lot of love for Tyquan, and obviously he's a fast receiver, and he did a lot of things right. In saying that, we're always trying to do what's best for our football team.
Gerard, just kind of curious, what are your weekly interactions like with Drake May? Do you sit down with him one-on-one? Do you totally leave him to AVP? What's your interaction?
No, I think the head coach always has to have a good relationship with the starting quarterback, and we talk every day.
Caden Wallace, start the clock or not yet?
Not yet on Caden. One at a time, Mike. One at a time.
Gerard, what did you guys see from Titus Leo that you wanted to work with him?
Yeah, just a versatile player, has good size, good athleticism, and hopefully he can, help us on defense and really special teams as well.
Did you get to know Jim Montgomery at all? I know your time didn't overlap a ton, but did you guys have a relationship?
No.
Gerard, when you see that the way that Drake's been playing and seems to be improving each week, is there any part of you that's surprised with how well he's been playing?
No, I will say this, one of his strengths that you continue to see now, he's not a repeat error guy. And there are definitely looks that he still hasn't seen or we haven't practiced against. And, it may confuse him at first, but he's not a repeat error guy. And that's a good trait for a quarterback to have.
Right, I know you said extending plays is the most important quality you want in a quarterback. You see in a quarterback. When did you come to believe that, and what made you come to that realization?
No, I mean, look at the quarterbacks around the league that we throw in the top tier. All of them have the ability to extend plays. Now, with that being said, he is a quarterback, and there are times where it's like just stay in the pocket and throw the ball. But to be able to at least even have the threat of scrambling definitely helps offenses out and the offensive line.
Because that's obviously different from the quarterback you faced, when you were playing, right? Most pocket-bound guys, and since you started coaching here, the top quarterbacks have that kind of mobility and ability to extend. Is that something that changed in your philosophy or viewpoint during those periods?
I would say there was a mix of quarterbacks, at least when I played. It may not be let's say the Lamar Jackson, but you got to think like Michael Vick was doing some of that stuff. And I would also throw a guy like Ben Roethlisberger in there who he wasn't very elusive, but he was hard to bring down in the pocket. And so, I mean, I'm sure you've seen all the missed tackles on Ben Roethlisberger, but that also is an extended play.
Go for it. Way back?
My guy.
Every team seems to have at least 2 really top-tier receivers, from the Bengals to Seattle. Last week, you guys dealt with Kupp and Nakua. How do you guys determine when you see Waddle and Tyreek Hill? How do you determine what you're going to do in the secondary week to week? When do the conversations start?
Well, I think the first thing, this is a little bit different. You look at last week, it was more about the size matchup. This week, it's about the speed matchup. And, we have guys in the locker room who have covered those guys relatively well. And we just have to continue to do that. I would say when you look at like matchups like that, it's always fun to see a guy travel with a guy. But again, they learn you and you're learning them during the game. And I think there is something to sometimes changing those matchups up just to throw it off.
I was going to ask somewhat of a similar question, just based on what you had said in the opening statement. They have speedy guys, and then you have speedy guys, so it might be more of a matchup game. So
no, that's right. That's exactly right.
I was wondering if there was any follow up off of the Rams game, where some of our discussion was with Christian and match.
Which is it's a fair point. What I would say, like in the man, I went back and looked at that as well. So in the man-to-man snaps, Christian was on one of those top 2 guys the majority of the time, and now in zone, it really doesn't matter. No, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter where he is, but in those man-to-man snaps, he was for the most part where we wanted him to be.
Travis, you've watched the Dolphins under Tua since he became their quarterback. Why does he fit this offense so well? The ball comes out so quick.
That's right. Yeah, I think the first thing is you have a bunch of receivers, and now even putting the back and Jonnu in there as well, that they have good run after catch ability, and you hit it on the head. The quickness that the ball comes out and gives those guys an opportunity to run is definitely a strength of Tua's.
My quarterback wide receiver conversation, how much, if at all, does history play into it when you talk about a guy specifically like Jonathan Jones and Tyreek Jones?
I think you take those things into consideration, while at the same time, maintaining the right to kind of change those matchups up.
Miami historically has been a weird place for this team to play no matter the time of year. Why do you think that is, and do you address that with the guys this week?
I think it. Well, first and foremost, I won't address it with the guys as far as the struggles that we've had in Miami, even though they're probably listening to me right now. But what I will say is every game is unique. Every game is unique. It's a tough place to play. It's not that it's super loud or anything like that. We just haven't been able to get over the hump.
So sorry to keep harping on the matchups in the Rams.
And now, great moments in history.
Eric and Paul show a feeling for the league. Jacksonville wins this game. They do, in fact, get that.
I took the Houston points.
What about the cover?
I took the Houston
3.5.
points.
Jacksonville by 3.5.
Yeah.
You took Jacksonville, so you want the point. You lay in the points.
If we believe this,
they're gonna win by more.
He's winning on both sides.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's winning.
They're gonna win.
Now you don't want to know why I have that face.
Some of these are not intentional.
Yeah. This is your lock of the week, upset lock of the week. Pittsburgh over the Titans. What was the spread?
2. Huge upset.
2. They're going to win by more.
Big upset. The New England money's not coming in. So that worries me. That worries me in this game. What do they know? What do they know? But I'm going to say nothing. They know nothing.
I thought you were going to say nothing.
Yeah. And
he's done that plenty.
Yeah. Patriots prevail.
Shocker.
28-19. Patriots.
My favorite part of the Fredisms when he gives picks on games that there's some thought to, like that one, right? He's tortured for a minute.
And
really could go either way.
Right, and then
still
Patriots
finds a way
win.
for a 2-score win.
Right, yeah.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered. 855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. Jay has a good email. It's a candidate for email of the week, I think.
Okay.
In the
Drum roll.
newsletter. He says, first off, love the show, especially when Fred and Paul argue when they agree with each other.
Me too.
We argue when we agree.
Correct. Perfect.
But I've had several gripes this year, and I want to get them off my chest. One, Alex and Evan's attendance is poor to me. They're unbelievably good members, and I love when they're on. But it's disappointing that 50% of the shows don't have one or the other. I understand that it's due to change in schedule with the team in the league, but I feel like something can be done.
Okay.
Well, we leave you wanting more.
Not
That's the whole
really.
thing.
Not really for Evan.
We leave you wanting more. Anyway, number 2, Alex Barth does not know what rapid fire means. Dude needs to make a point and move on. We'll have to take that up with Evan when he comes here. 3, Alex, the woman, needs to elaborate on her freaking picks.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Okay?
I kind of like her.
You don't really have to.
She's got a style.
And
I
we
like
have
it.
to hurry. We have to hurry.
Sometimes there's not much to elaborate on.
We have to hurry. 4, No Socks needs to get the good, the bad, and the injured list so much sooner. He lets it drag on and on until he does. It's so annoying.
Paul would agree.
Good, the bad, and the injured.
Well, I think we done the good, the bad, and the injured before we start the good, the bad, and the injured.
Yeah, right.
5, the good, bad, and injured list is the best part of the post-game show. Stop consolidating the list and take your time. For instance, Oh, the whole defense was great today. Say more. Talk about all the individual players, especially after a win. We're riding a high. Well, that doesn't come too often.
Wow, Fred.
Well, we only had 3 so far.
It's true.
You
make it sound so mean.
And still on No Socks, he needs to understand what part of good, bad, and injured you're in, because he always has some weird interjection with a negative in the good list or an injured player when you're on the bad list.
Literally just left.
Oh,
just
no.
left, too.
Oh, that's funny.
So
it's good. I think
I
that's
haven't
doing
can you
it.
help him out with that?
Yeah.
I do try, Fred,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Do you notice the last part there that when we're in the middle of the good list, he talks about bad things?
Oh, I don't know. No, not so
I
much.
haven't
I
really
think
noticed.
sometimes
Well,
it meanders
I noticed that
around
in
a little
general.
In life.
Yeah.
Well, Susan. Yeah, Mike and I have sort of, it's a
he's
process.
settling in. He's
It's a
settling
process.
in.
I think he's getting better every week.
Yeah, I think it's just like we already know Matt, and we already have a little bit of a rapport with him. So I think it's just settling into that, like into what we're normally just sitting in the bullpen down here.
The one thing that I've been trying to really get him to come out and do is offer his thoughts. He wants to be sort of traditional host. I'm going to set the table, and I'm going to let Mike and Paul opine.
Oh.
But I think he needs to opine more.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
That's what Hardy did.
A little bit. Kickers usually, but
Right. Every time they'd score a touchdown, Nick Folk would make the extra point. He'd write down Folk.
I got one.
Folk, everybody.
Lee writes in, "Hi, gentlemen and Alex. I love the stripped-down start to Patriots Unfiltered with the senior members arguing whilst Alex looks on, probably in complete bewilderment of them arguing in agreement."
You were stuck in one of those
It's
today?
like when 2 dogs are fighting each other, and you're like, if I jump in, I'm just going to get mauled too. Just let it
the
happen.
look on her face was exactly as the
No,
emailer
it's-
just described. It was like, what am I doing here?
No, I was smiling. It was entertaining.
The hardest, it is
I
entertaining.
was thinking in my head, like, it'd be cool for the listeners to be able to have, like, a front row seat to it and be in the room while it's manifesting.
It's fun to listen to, but at the same time, like you're like, are they arguing the same thing? I'm like, I'd get in on this if there was a side, but I feel like they're both on the same side and they're somehow arguing. So I don't know.
It's 2 days in a row too. It was on Adam. It was on Adam yesterday, and today it was. We agreed that Van Pelt is doing a good job with Drake May.
No, but we were arguing about
Somehow.
That thing? Yeah.
Fred, I have some concerns. Firstly, we haven't seen Tamara in a long time. I hope she's okay. She's been on the post-game show.
Pre-game. She does
Pre-game.
every
The
week.
pre-game show, yeah.
Every week.
Yeah. Secondly, Paul seems to be in some sort of predicament. Car concerns, no longer eating on the show. Can you drive around and do a welfare check on him as part of your boss man duties?
Yeah.
I have
Finances have hit hard.
I have a query as to what you think of last year's draft class. Now, they are no longer rookies. Douglas, White, and Gonzalez all look like NFL caliber players. And similar to Paul, I'm intrigued by Booty as to his progression. Will it continue, and what caused his move from frankly bust to looking like he belongs in the league? Is it the change in coaches and approach? I think
it's him.
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
He just decided, I'm going to keep working at it.
Yeah, because he went through the spring and most of the summer in the same spot that he was in. Sort of fringe roster guy.
Hanging on, kind of
And
fighting.
according to the coaches, it was his sort of progression on the practice field that pushed him. He was inactive early in the year, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Booty?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would agree overall, though, like that draft class looks okay. You know, Gonzalez and White, I think, look like two guys that should be part of your defense going forward. And I think I think Douglas and Booty are both probably going to be part of your receiving group. Now, you need obviously better than that, but they're going to be part of it. So that's four players that you're going to have going forward from one class. It's not bad.
I'd echo that. I'm curious about Marty Mapu right now. I know, actually, Jabril Peppers has his next court date tomorrow, so maybe we'll get an update on his status. But, I mean, there's a very good chance he's never going to dress for the Patriots again. Marty Mapu didn't dress last week. Is he part of the solution long term? How do you feel about Kyle Duggar, Del Pettis, and Mapu next year, or is that a significant need that they might have to look at?
I wonder if Mapu didn't dress because of something physical.
He's been on with a neck. He's had a neck injury.
Or if they just decided
But I mean, even one little thing I noticed is Del Pettis playing more snaps than the other guy right now, Jalen Hawkins. You know, just I mean, it could be circumstantial, but still, it's
not great last week.
Something to note, yeah.
But that's not really a shot at Del Pettis. The secondary struggled last week.
Sure.
You know.
Brian wrote in, and this is for you, Deuce. He wants to know if you have an update on Jabril Peppers.
I just gave it, man.
Literally.
Corte tomorrow.
Hosts aren't, we can do that on
tomorrow.
Corte tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow is next time he'll be. But we'll
so you really think that we will not see him again?
I kind of think that's the way I'm leaning, right? I mean, unless tomorrow they come out and I mean, why if there was a videotape of something. Wouldn't they have been? Here it is. Oh, geez, this lady's.
Yeah,
maybe Alex talk
we talk about this all the time.
But maybe we'll
like
find
I'm
out
leaking.
tomorrow.
If I'm innocent, I'm leaking that the next day.
Well, that's what I would do.
You know, and he's been like.
Don't know.
He was dropping some music.
We don't know.
Like in the last week or so. So.
Oh, really?
What's he doing now? This is like he's.
Well, we talked about that. We were
paid.
wondering what he was doing, and then later that week, I saw him posting like raps.
He's getting
and
into
stuff
his
and
music now. See, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Like he's on.
He's transitioning.
I know he's his music career.
Jacob in Illinois, I'd like to address a glaring PU crew injustice. Fred, you must be Mr. Krabs for how you live comfortably wearing designer clothes because Marshall's is beneath you, having your lawn mowed for you, and going to restaurants where you shan't deign to carry your drink. Meanwhile, the man next to you can't afford to keep his car to snuff with the state and can't update the wardrobe you incessantly bully him for. Loosen your purse strings, you miserable whatever. Paying Paul shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
Something else that isn't hard, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Diet Pepsi, the official beverage of Paul Perillo. I got you, bud. All of this isn't just keep up the amazing work. Shout out Big E, my brother from another mother trucker.
Oh, it's
A lot of Marshall's slander yesterday.
This was a Marshall's find right here.
That was my first job.
These are my people, though.
Oh yeah,
But
I'm
tear
team
to my
Marshalls. Hashtag team. But
Marshalls,
Fred,
TJ's,
well,
Home
maybe you
Goods,
work there,
Home Sense.
Alex. You can provide some insight on this.
Yeah.
Fred says that the clothes that they send to Marshalls are actually lesser quality than the clothes they sell in the regular store. Would you concur?
And/or damaged.
Okay, so to my understanding, it's a mix of irregular stuff, stuff that was over-purchased for retail stores, and then a lot of what you're seeing now is like maybe brands that are past their heyday a little and they're on the decline, and then that's when they get into your Marshalls and stuff. I think there's probably some that manufacture specifically. I think you're right. I cannot confirm that. I was just a lowly, I was a very lowly 16, 17-year-old sales associate. I worked in the
No,
fitting
listen,
room.
if you're a young kid and you just got your first or second job and it's a place where you kind of have to work you have to dress every day.
Yeah.
Go to Marshalls.
But it depends on the Marshalls too.
Yeah,
you go to the one in Newton, they have legitimate designer stuff like in glass cases. Like you need someone to get in there.
Yeah,
but
Fred.
you go to like
by
others
the way,
and it's
speaking of that,
By the by.
So I'm in CVS the other day.
Okay.
And I needed to buy soap, bar soap.
On a slot? In a
rope?
slot?
It's locked up.
Yeah.
I had to get assistance
the
to
world we
unlock the
live in
case
now.
to get soap.
Soap?
What is
weird.
that?
What do they do with soap?
I said to her, are people really stealing? She's like,
People
oh
are
yeah.
stealing everything.
Really?
If you go to the ink blot, anywhere in the ink blot or like the
This is
south
right
end,
here in
there's, you
Foxborough.
can't even just go in and get anything. It was all locked up. At least last time I was
Used
there,
to be
like
just
a year
razor
ago.
blades, right?
Yeah,
Well, and
like real expensive
You know,
stuff.
and anything
Formula.
drugs,
Yeah.
formula, yeah, like
is-
Sudafed.
This is just normal
Forget it.
bar
Well,
soap.
they're making meth out of Sudafed, so
No,
you have to show your
exactly.
license.
Yeah,
and
that I
it's
can
limited.
Fred, sounds like an
They are
opportunity.
apparently melting the soap and repurposing it and selling it on the black market.
Oh, it's like a
Taking
Fight Club.
brand name
What are they
stuff,
repurposing
melting
it
and,
into?
then reselling it themselves.
Is that right?
Wow.
That's what the Google says.
Oh my God.
Well, what does ChatGPT say?
Well, you can imagine.
I don't care. I'm just kidding.
A new unlock
I have
display.
the answer about the Marshalls.
How about a new unlock display
It's
of
not-
soap on a slot, right?
It's
Soap
not
with a slot.
necessarily irregular in the sense of being defective or damaged, but often come from overstock, past seasons, or excessive inventory from major brands.
Yeah.
There's irregular stuff too.
So
There's
it's a little
literally
both.
tags that'll say irregular.
Do you remember the Adidas shorts that everybody used to wear?
Yeah,
Like-
the three stripes.
Three
down the
stripes
side.
down
Yeah,
the
yeah,
side,
yeah.
soccer
Kind of
shorts.
like,
So
kind
I
of like
remember-
Soccer shorts.
Yeah, I was probably like maybe 12-ish, and my mother got me a few pair.
And sometimes
you
they
know.
were really shiny.
Yeah, and like and they were good shorts, but like one of the pockets was like stitched closed. You couldn't get into
You'd always
the
try,
pocket.
never get in.
No. It was stitched closed. It wasn't trying. You couldn't do it. That's why it was in Marshalls.
Locked up the pocket.
That's why that like pair of like $40 shorts was on sale for like $5.
Yeah.
Because the pocket didn't
It's
open.
there, but you can't get into it.
But
it looks good.
It's just like all the time. You're like, "Ah, damn it."
That's my move.
For all I know, there's a sales guy upstairs who was about to do a deal with Marshalls.
They are a Boston company,
Damn
right?
it.
So
No, I've gotten many things at Marshalls.
Oh, it's
over the
good
years.
for kids. Kids stuff. I mean, that's.
I don't think we've ever gotten anything.
But
for
like I
kids
said,
at
if you need quantity because you need to change it up,
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
A lot of bang for your buck.
Fred, yeah.
I just don't buy a
Go
lot
there.
of clothes.
He even says it with such disdain. Go there
No,
if you want
I'm
to.
giving you permission.
Now the emailer nailed you.
You like that.
The one,
You like
the
that.
one from back, the one about no one makes being rich sound harder than Fred.
Rich.
Thought he missed out on like the Fred just hanging his hand off the throne to let the dog clean off his fingers for him.
That's just being
There you
lazy.
go.
That's just being lazy. Tom in England, the perfect. We were talking about donuts the other day.
yeah.
So the perfect donut is a jam-filled donut, not jelly,
Too decadent.
with a dusting of sugar,
Jam.
followed by a Krispy Kreme glazed ring donut. What are your thoughts on Tim Hortons? We have a
I've never
few
been.
this side of the pond, and I rate them over Dunkin'.
I've never been.
Dunkin' is
Great.
a sponsor.
Yes.
Doesn't match up donut-wise. Right?
I don't know.
Hey,
I've
I
never
think
had
there's
Tim
one
Hortons.
Dunkin'
go to
left
these
in
places-
Massachusetts where they still make them there, but most of the others
Yeah.
they
Dunkin'
don't.
Donuts are fine for the
Yeah.
donuts, but you go to these places, they have these designer donuts now.
not
yeah.
a,
It's
not
like
a,
the next
not a
gen
fan.
stats
Oh
of
yeah,
donuts.
like
Yeah.
Blackberry
They don't need to do
donuts
that.
in
It's
Not a
overthinking.
fan
Blackbird
at all.
donuts in
Yeah.
Boston. Oh
Yep.
my god.
What's the place
Yep.
that Eric
PVD
used
donuts,
to get?
PVD.
Is that the place
Yeah.
from
Oh,
Rhode
you
Island?
bring them
Yep.
in, it's like, oh, thanks, Eric.
It's
And
like
they
a
just
whole
sit there
thing.
because nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
Well, you are so mean.
Well, I will say we get Dunkin' every week for the pre and post game show, and those things are gone. Like everyone eats those.
Oh, yeah.
That's because Matt takes
I
them
eat
home.
6 of them before you guys get there.
Oh, that's why I have. I always get one.
I get one.
Yeah.
Sometimes two.
It's a good little treat before
Sometimes
the show.
two.
Get you excited.
Let's see. Who's the first time emailer? It is Dylan.
Oh, you're on the list.
With the talk about AVP and Marcus Jones earlier, I had an idea. It might not be realistic, but I wanted your opinion on it. The running game has been struggling for a while. Ramondre hasn't had the same juice we saw earlier in the season. It seems like Drake May accounts for 70% of the rushing yards every week. Could putting Marcus Jones in the backfield and giving him some snaps as a running back work out? Like Paul said, he's absolutely electric with the ball in his hand, and he could be a threat to break one off for a touchdown at any point. Do you think his vision and ability on punt returns could translate to a role as running back, getting a few snaps here and there as a change of pace?
I don't think so.
It's a lot different,
Yeah.
running from that dead start,
I think
right,
it's what
Paul?
we've seen.
Yeah, that dead stop.
Getting them in space, getting them with speed and
Yeah,
space.
like the end
and-
around last
yeah.
week is.
Yeah,
that's-
you have
that's
to
what
do
I'm
it that
looking
way.
at.
But,
Yeah.
but I mean, I get what he's getting at a little bit with the punt return, but I also think on a punt return you have a lot more time to kind of find an angle, and it's not like, I mean, especially with this offensive line, there might be a guy on top of him, like
Right,
you know,
and
like a punt return when he might wave fair catch it.
And if you're spreading, spread the formation out and you're trying to, see if you can get the defense in a light front and all of a sudden you get a seam or a crease or whatever,
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
he could make some big plays doing that. But as a traditional running back, 1st and 10, I don't like his chances
Power
of
eye right.
Yeah. 22 lead. I don't like his chances of holding up.
Tim, our friend at Duncan, writes in.
Love Tim.
He says, do you think that the Patriots may utilize Brendan Schooler the way they did in the Chicago game as some sort of spy for the quarterback?
I
Not
don't think
on
you.
Tua.
I don't think you need it on Tua.
No,
do you?
I mean, maybe something to consider with Kyler Murray in a couple of weeks, though.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Let's go to the TPX
all the other guys
hotline.
are out
We haven't
again.
been there yet. I can't read. Dylan in South Carolina. What's up, Dylan?
Hey, first time caller. Just to clear up some things you guys were talking about yesterday, y'all were saying like Drake had said pause during the interview. Being from the Carolinas and a young kid like myself, not to brag or anything, but we would say pause if we said something out of pocket. For example, like Drake May said, feeling up on the guys or whatever he ended up saying, like feeling good in coverage. He said pause, as, indicate like it might have been out of pocket if you heard it out
Gotcha.
of context.
Yeah.
So that's why he was saying that. The last thing I want to bring up is we always talk about the worst draft picks here recently. What would be the best draft pick other than Drake May, obviously, that you guys would bring up? And I'll take it off the air. Thanks, guys.
Of all time, Dylan? No, wait.
The best draft pick recently?
Yeah.
It's probably Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
I think Drake May was the 3rd overall pick. I mean, that was the pick.
Yeah,
Like Gonzalez, they had all kinds of options. They traded down. They still got
Paul, what was the best draft the Patriots ever had as a franchise?
individual year.
Was it the Hannah draft?
That would be one of them. 73, I think it was.
Yeah.
76 was great. I think it was like one in like 85, I think, something like that.
I mean, they drafted Marcus Haynes.
And then
Marcus Haynes?
Mike Haynes. I'm thinking of Marcus Jones. Mike Haynes.
Same thing.
I just
he knows.
You speak French.
I know.
You
I
know.
speak French. I do. I know exactly what he meant. That's why I laughed. There's a lot.
That was a good draft.
They had some good. I mean, Chuck Fairbanks was a really good drafter.
Yeah. And even, when Parcells, they had some good drafts. The
95 draft was exceptional.
Yeah.
Ty Law, Ted Johnson, Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
Not a bad 1, 2, 3.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
ChatGPT says that 2000 is the best draft year of all time.
Yeah.
For the Patriots?
Yeah. Well, why? Who'd they draft in 2000?
Right.
Brady.
Fair point.
Of course.
GPT,
Good
get
point.
out of here. Get out of
Brady,
here with
Branch, Vrabel, Adelius Thomas.
None of those were draft picks except for Brady.
Adelius Thomas.
Vrabel was not a draft.
I'm straight up just reading GPT.
No,
Okay,
we're not
so-
laughing at you.
I'm not yelling at you, guys.
We're laughing
This
at AI.
is
being
GPT's
dumb.
blind spot.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Facts.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
Vrabel wasn't a draft pick.
And he wasn't on the team in 2000.
Adelius
So that's
Thomas?
not good. That's not good for ChatGPT.
yeah,
I
be
thought
careful
it was
with that
pretty
thing.
accurate, but it isn't.
OpenAI got some
Kendall's
things
in
to
North
work out.
Carolina. What's up, Kendall?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
I want to ask real quick. Where do y'all think the Patriots can be, like, to be competing for the division? You think we could be competing for the division next year, or at least second? If you look at the division, the Dolphins got a situation with Tua, long-term health, and then the Jets. They look like they're going to rebuild it after this year. And then we know Buffalo is, but you think we can at least be number 2 in the division next year? This question for Paul, but any of y'all can answer. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Kendall.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say Miami would be discernibly better than the Patriots next year. But if Tua is out of the equation, then that would change things for sure. And I also think there's a difference between competing for the division and finishing second in the division. Like right now, whoever finishes second behind Buffalo this year is probably going to be like 4 or 5 games behind.
Right.
Yeah. And then go have to lose to Buffalo in the playoffs.
Yeah. So what you're saying, second is up for grabs
Yeah,
next
like
year.
right now, Miami's 4 and 6, right? So they're 4 games behind Buffalo.
Yeah.
We're not even at Thanksgiving.
It's a lot to make up.
So you can say Miami is the second best team in the division. That's fact.
Right.
But you can't say they're a contender for the division.
Right.
Because they're not.
Yep. Travis in West Virginia, one of my pet peeves is when people add an extra unnecessary syllable when saying Vinatieri. Matt and Mike, knock it off, because you guys say Vinatieri.
Vinatieri. I pronounced the I.
It's Vinatieri.
Vinatieri. Okay.
I said it that way because that's how I heard Mike say it.
Oh, shoot.
Also, I'm personally indifferent about
You
the
can't cover this team. If you don't know how to pronounce
There's an I in there.
If you don't
just
know how
like-
to pronounce the names, you shouldn't
There's
be
an
allowed to cover
OU
it.
in Blount.
You said it so many times making the 2001 documentary.
Oh, damn it. I ruined the whole thing.
Also, I'm personally indifferent about the Thursday pick segment, but I actually think it's an insult if people say that it's their favorite part of the show. Wow.
This is becoming polarizing.
They're insulted.
I have to say, I take the picks a little bit more seriously now that we have like a graphic about the standings.
I tried to take it seriously today, but I was blocked from DraftKings. I tried to do prep, and
We had to get Fred to
DraftKings
sign off.
was
Fred, did you
blocked
hear about
from my
that? To sign
browser.
off.
What's that?
I had to issue a ticket to Help Desk.
Same.
Oh, yeah? Why?
Because I wasn't allowed to get on
and I had to
DraftKings.
approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred came out, big boss man, said,
He's
okay.
like, what? Huh? He actually had to approve it.
We're
so-
on the
so he
gambling
knew all
approved list now.
Yeah, yeah.
All of us?
Yeah. Well, at least the people, I mean, Evan and Alex and me and you.
Okay.
Anyone who submitted a help ticket.
Yeah, I mean, we're not allowed to gamble. We had to take a class to say that we understand that we're not allowed to gamble, and now we have to be treated like children. No, you can't even look at a spread.
Yeah.
Like,
When are they
What are
start
we doing?
blocking
I
more
know.
sites? Like what like what do you really need for your job? Like you can get to
Well,
Pro
a lot of
Football
companies
Reference
do that.
and
A lot of companies do that. Like
ESPN.
Gmail will be blocked
Yeah.
and random stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Speaking of Fresno, you guys had some lawn maintenance discussion yesterday, which got me wondering if Fred has been using his nut grabber. It's actually Nut Wizard. Can't remember the actual name. That's what it is. Is it holding up? I've never had. It's amazing. After that one season where acorns were just raining down, ever since then, I've never had a year where
Not this
acorns
year?
were a problem.
Because this year was an acorn year. We got a ton of acorns.
Well, I guess
Because
I
think
don't have.
it's like
Well, he doesn't live there anymore.
Yeah, I
Right,
don't
on the
live in the
Cape, it
same
might be
place
different.
anymore. Yeah,
But I know it's like a thing every couple years that there's just a ton of acorns.
Yeah.
So
I never had to use.
we
it,
had them this year.
but it is holding up. Evan's here.
Hello.
Evan has returned from practice. Evan has returned from practice. Yeah, Evan has returned from practice. What was the mood? Who wasn't there? What did he see?
All right, Evan, what's going on now? They're in the bubble, right?
In the bubble
Was
today.
it hot in there?
It was. It wasn't too hot in there. No,
Oh,
it wasn't.
okay.
It was normal bubble temperature, but a lot of grousing about in out. I'll get to that in a second. But the good news is that Christian Barmore. Now I can't even get my train of thought. Christian Barmore was back at practice today. So it sounds like he's like on like a Thursday schedule where Thursday is the day. We'll see if he's out there tomorrow, but that's what it was last week. So Barmore back. Still no Dietrich Wise, so he misses his 5th straight practice now, going back to last week after missing last week's game with that foot injury. So those are really the two attendance notes today. Everybody else was present and accounted for. So Barmore back and Wise not.
Okay.
That's it.
So, is this the first time they practice in the bubble that we've had access
This season, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's something.
We've
So
been in a drought.
What was the mood? Like, was it different for you in there?
It was different. It was bumping in there because you turn the music on and it's indoors obviously, so it's loud, and guys were into it. There was a lot of hooting and
Is
hollering.
it more selective in terms of what media is allowed in there?
Nope.
No.
Same contingent, but they have these like awnings up, like because the glass doors that open up into it from the
Yeah.
parking lot. So they have these like awnings up now, like kind of like when we're on the road, when in the
Yeah.
team hotel,
Right.
that to like cover the field so that you can't just stand in the parking lot and look into the practice. So that was an interesting new addition.
And we did have an emailer that asked that you have a conversation with Alex Barth
About?
because he doesn't understand the meaning of rapid fire.
Oh, he does not.
Yeah.
We're terrible at that as a duo.
Yeah.
Like, us. Like, we could talk football all day
Right.
long. So asking us to go rapid fire is like asking us to do something impossible.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
is that a segment in the show that you do? Or?
No, it just last week we had a bunch of, and he's standing over there right now
That's
making
all right.
faces.
No, we like making fun of people right when they're in.
Yeah.
Right here.
No, last week we had a bunch of emails that had come in and I had neglected them. So I was like, last 10 minutes, let's just rapid fire through.
You got to like one of
yeah,
us.
yeah. And we were going, the first one, he's going on and on.
First
and I'm
one
like,
was about gunners, and that was the rest
I'm
of the
like,
show.
Alex, rapid fire. Like, I don't have 5-minute takes here, but that's what we do.
It's a share's gift.
Okay. Dan writes in, firstly, some emailer on host crime. Alex,
Oh, boy.
stop picking on Paul in the newsletter. You might hide it well, but Paul is a very sensitive soul. You might think that he drinks as a hobby, but it's to escape the pain.
Jeez, that's dark.
Alex, if you need to fill in content, you can always print Eric's book about Africa in serial excerpts. That would be funny. Don't worry, it'll be a low-effort piece as there will be nothing to print. If you're lucky, Eric might give you a watermark photo to fill in the space. So those are inside jokes.
A lot of inside jokes.
John Jones usually played on Hill in the past. Is that still the case? Or is Marcus Jones a better match for Hill now with his speed? I think Hill. I think what you do with Jones is you double him up with somebody.
So they've had Gonzo actually played Tyreek Hill the last couple of times. In week 5, he shadowed Tyreek on 21 of his 29 routes in that game, and then also Gonzalez's rookie year. Now, Marcus Jones got hurt early in that game, his rookie season, so I don't know if that had an effect, but Gonzalez shadowed Tyreek Hill in that game as well. So I think let's not forget that Gonzalez ran a 4.39. He can fly too. So he's been on Hill for the most part the last couple times he's been healthy.
Okay.
Might be some Jones at safety too.
That's kind of what I
could be
figure as well. Yeah.
I forgot to ask, were they in pads today indoors?
No pads.
No pads.
No pads.
No pads at all.
Well,
not even the little.
Yeah.
Oh, they had.
They always have the uppers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about the grousing though, about the ins and the outs. You got an in and out.
Well,
That was like the Michael Scott snip, snap, snip, snap.
Yeah, it was in, out, in, out. Pause. And
back in the in the rain. They're putting you back out in the rain.
That was the grousing, was that we were standing underneath the overhead. This is such a first world problem. That's why
There's
I'm
no
laughing.
gutter.
And we're out in kind of the rain, but not getting rained on. And then we thought we were going to get kicked out and back outside, but they let us stand behind the awning. Backs to the field though. Right now, I'm just.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't
Evan,
put hoods over.
turn
your
around.
head.
Yeah, well, it's like me of all people. Like,
being
I'm not
kidnapped.
going to break any
Rotate.
rules. Like, you
Give
got
him a blanket party.
Yeah.
Don't even look at him.
Don't look.
Did you get a updated list of who's going on the trip this week?
A couple people are going
I
on the
bet.
trip this week that don't normally,
Exciting.
don't always go. So it's going to be a little bit of a bigger
from the
contingent,
media.
I
I
would
missed
say.
that.
From the media.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice weather.
Yeah. A little bit
Family.
bigger. But I was reminded that it's usually cold in that press box in Miami.
Well, no. What happens? It's the worst press. First of all, it's the worst press box ever.
It's a tough setup.
Even
tough.
with the improvements to the stadium. But when it is warm out, they've got the vents that literally drip condensation right on you while you're sitting there.
Yeah.
It's like it's raining in there.
Yeah, it's a tough setup, but noted about the cold.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's chilly.
Some people were
bring
cold.
a raincoat or bring that umbrella you brought in.
And it's
today.
going to
Yeah,
be chilly
right,
at
it's a good
night, too.
umbrella.
It's going to be in the 50s.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't know what you guys are gonna do.
Bring a
I
throw.
know.
I'm not gonna have to bring.
All right, it's that time of the week.
Oh, here we go. Best part of the show. What the sharks know. It's really three because they're at home. Will Denver ever play a game on the road? Separate the boys from the men. We gotta hurry. Locked of the week. We gotta hurry. It's the spread again. We gotta hurry. This is the song until Chill makes a real one. Gotta hurry. It's that time.
Okay. Is that AI generated? Okay, it is.
It sounded like
Do we have
a
a rate?
cross between a mid-'80s
Yeah.
sitcom theme song
Yeah.
and just some like.
Should
I prompted
dance
it
Do
to
we like that, or should we give it another try?
I have other versions if you want.
Oh, I like
Okay,
it.
well, not for today.
I
But
liked it.
The irony is
I
that
prompted it
that
with
takes up a
disco
lot of
and
time
jingle.
when we're trying to hurry.
Gotta
What's
hurry.
that?
I said the prompt I put in for that was disco and jingle.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could see it.
Was
okay.
it? Was there a rights issue with the dun, 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 that thing?
Oh,
No.
We're just getting
People
creative.
just
Okay.
ask
No.
for a
Just trying to have
picks.
some fun.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
All right, Paul. What happened last week?
So it was a good week for most. Not me.
No.
Not really you either, Fred. But
I didn't say anything.
no. I just was saying
All right.
we were, a little lagging behind. Mike and Evan 11-3,
Nice.
Alex 10-4, and you and I were 9-5. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
we're holding down the curve.
Right.
We're
Right.
bringing down the whole class with the spread. Mike 11-3.
Good job, Mike.
Ooh, Mike.
Really good week with the spread. Alex and Evan, really good week with the spread, 10-4. Paul 7-7, mediocre as usual. And Fred, very atypical of Fred,
Yeah.
6-8.
Oof. My worst week yet this year.
You've fallen off the top spot.
Oh boy.
So overall, Evan takes the lead from me, breaks the tie 109-57. I remain in second place at 107-59. Alex 106-60. Fred 105-61, and Mike 103-63.
Oof.
All right.
Don't you fret,
I know.
oh handsome
How does
one.
this happen?
With the spread, there's a new sheriff in town.
Oh boy.
And he's wicked handsome. Mike is 93-70-3.
Wow.
Followed by Fred at 92-71-3. Evan 90-73-3. Paul 88-75-3, and Alex 86-77-3.
Still making
Picking every game with the spread The worst record that this show has is 86-77.
That is something.
That's
And
pretty
I'm a
good.
girl, so like.
That's what. Well,
What?
You don't need to
Alex.
mansplain. What are we doing?
Well, like that's pretty good, I think.
You don't get bonus points for being a woman.
No, I'm saying like I
didn't want to mansplain basketball.
One of my all-time favorite drops. I didn't feel like mansplaining basketball to this guy.
I was mansplaining hockey to Deuce earlier, so it's fine.
It's called the power play. You have an extra man. How does that happen, Paul? That
You are first
how
with the
is-
spread
how
and
does that-
last overall.
Like, do you have like a theory of like?
I
what,
don't.
Like what?
I think we need to check.
Dumb luck. Yeah, probably.
Fred
yeah,
nails
that's
it.
There you
Yeah.
go. Thanks, Fred.
But we're gonna have to
Especially
do,
based on the amount of
we're
work
gonna
that
have
we
to
do
do
not put
something-
into these picks.
We're gonna have to do something about that point spread lead. I got to get my lead back. All right, start with tonight on Prime Video, 8:15. The 8-2 Steelers are at the 2-8 Browns. Another one of Paul's division matchups.
Yeah, Pittsburgh by 3.5.
That's it.
Yeah, I think there's some.
Oh, Sharps knows something here. Something's up, folks. Something is up.
I think there's some inclement weather as well tonight. It's, it
That
might
could
be
be
maybe
it.
a little
That
bit.
could be
Like,
it.
That's
maybe
from
a
our
little-
sources
little
in
bit
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we have sources directly connected to the head coach in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Who informed us that there's some snow tonight.
That could be it.
I don't know, man. I
Snow?
guess. I think
Yeah,
that's what she
some
said.
snow.
Yeah.
some big wind
Lake
action.
effect.
Yeah, lake effect.
Lake
Right.
effect.
Exactly.
No pronouns. That's what this person said.
But I'm gonna go. I look. I haven't really been a believer in Pittsburgh, but I'm gonna go for it tonight. I'll take Pittsburgh. I'll lay the points.
Yeah, I'll take Pittsburgh road favorite. I think they starting to put a little bit of stuff together. I think they're tough. There's a weather situation.
Okay.
How's that for an
That's
elaboration?
good. I like that. That's good.
Good job,
Some
Alex.
analysis.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh both ways. The Browns have not been competitive for a couple of weeks now, and I keep on thinking the Steelers are going to slip up here, and they just don't. So
Yeah.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh both ways, too. My only concern would be coming off a huge win, short week on the road, but this is more of an anti-Cleveland pick. I'll take Pittsburgh both ways.
Yeah, this is the kind of team, the kind of game where Tomlin says, we're tough. And
Yeah. According to
So-
sources, exactly what he's saying.
I will go with Steelers both
Was
ways.
the source wearing a blanket at the time?
I don't know. She was going between a blanket and a T-shirt. I'm like, get it
He
straight.
He says she, so now everybody.
Right, that's my point.
Sunday, CBS, 1 o'clock. The 9-1 Chiefs are at the 3-7 Panthers.
Kansas City by 11.
Oof, on the road.
11. Oh boy. Last week I went against Kansas City. Right time to
Paid
finally, to go against them. But I'm back on the Chefs. Just a question of laying that 10.5. I'm gonna go for it. Let's lay them.
I'm gonna lay it too. Bounce back for the Chiefs. Good placement of opponent for them.
Tyquan Thornton too on the team, so look.
Practice
Oh,
squad.
people forget
Practice
that.
squad.
Oh well, they'll elevate.
But I don't know if you know he landed in Kansas City.
Landed.
I
He's
don't know
there.
if you saw that.
I was worried. I didn't know if his plane would make it, but he's there.
Chiefs both ways.
So definitely Kansas City, great, as Alex said, great bounce back opponent after the loss. I'm going to take Carolina with the points because Kansas City just hasn't covered these spreads all year. And I'm going to go with the balance of the season and say that Carolina finds a way to have a backdoor cover.
I was tempted to take the points, but my reasoning for not doing that is Chiefs lost last week, their first loss. Now kind of like pressure's off, so it's almost like they're starting a new season here for them. I think that they actually do cover and have a uncharacteristically 2024 good offensive game.
And that defense could really make life difficult on Bryce Young.
Yeah. 1 o'clock on Fox. The 8-2 Vikings are at the 4-6 Bears.
Minnesota by 3.5.
Ooh, man, I hate picking Minnesota every week. It's just I can never get a good feel for them, and it's hard to pick Chicago after seeing what they did 2 weeks ago. I know they bounced back, but I'm going to take Minnesota. I just think they're overall the better team, and they've got the more well-developed talent at this point. I'll lay the points.
I'm gonna take the Vikings both ways, and I don't have an elaboration.
2 games in, already out of gas.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna take the Vikings for sure, but I'm gonna take the Bears to cover. You know, these divisional games sometimes they get close and they get
That's
weird.
true.
So I'm gonna say it's a field goal game and the Vikings win.
I'm going to take it a step further and take the Bears to pull an upset. And
Whoa.
it's more
He's trying to make
about-
up ground.
It's
Lock of
more
the week?
about Sam Darnold. I think he's not been the same the last consistently the last couple of weeks. And I think Chicago at home, I think they look like they put together a better performance last week, and I think they'll do it again.
I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I think Brian Flores himself has a sack in this game. 1 o'clock on CBS. The 2-8 Titans are at the 7-4 Texans.
Houston by 8.
Oh, Joe. Yeah, they were. So Houston's pretty fired up, right, Fred? Was you? Were you the one that was bothering? They were too. They were too excited.
Yeah, on the sideline.
Very excited on the sideline.
Yeah.
Fred wasn't having that fun.
Got a lot of juice.
Fun police was out.
I think they keep rolling, especially at home. I'll take Houston. I'll lay the points.
Retweet.
Yeah, I'm going to take Houston both ways. I just think the Titans kind of stink.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think Houston's played all that well offensively. They have to try to get that offense on track. I know they scored 34 points last week, but that wasn't a 34-point outing. They had some turnovers. I'll take Houston both ways.
I am too. Houston both ways. Fox 1 o'clock. The 9-1 Lions are at the 5-6 Colts.
So this is Detroit by 7.5.
I was listening to Evan Lazar tell me this morning, Anthony Richardson not quite as bad as you might have thought last week, but I don't care.
He played really well.
No, he did. But I'm still gonna stick with Detroit. I just think they are in FU mode, and I will lay the 7.5 points.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was impressed by what I saw from Richardson last week. A lot of design quarterback run stuff that try to get him into the game a little bit, and I thought he made some good throws, but I just think the Lions are a wagon, so I'm going to take the Lions in this game both ways. But I was impressed for next week with the Patriots. Anthony Richardson, I thought, looked a lot better.
And this is another one of those examples. There's evidently a thing. The team that plays Detroit the following week gets eviscerated.
Oh, yeah.
Except for when Tennessee did it. Who Tennessee played the week after they played Detroit?
I don't remember.
Patriots. So this is setting up. The Colts coming to town next week. I'm going to take Detroit both ways.
Folks, this is your point spread lock of the week. Colts cover in this game, even though the Lions win.
I thought about taking the hook.
No, you should
He
have.
threw the ball well.
1 o'clock on CBS. The 4-6 Buccaneers are at the 2-8 Giants.
Bucks by 6.
Yeah, I was going to say. My sheet is 3.5. Only that was way too low. Yeah, things falling apart.
Tommy DeVito at quarterback, by the way, for the Giants.
Yeah. Saw them talking to Drew Lock about it. He seems as befuddled. It was interesting, Paul, real quick aside. You talk a lot about the New York media, and I watched an interview with Drew Lock, and they were right on him of like, I mean, you signed here, you thought you were the backup, and, you could see the conflict in him of how to answer these questions. And yeah, I mean, I am kind of thinking that, they got him good.
He would have been asking the backup quarterback about the backside safety.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Baker Bakes, and I'm gonna lay those 6 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bucks. Giants are just weird to me.
A lot of decent sized spreads this week.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bucks. I'm going to take them both ways, but I'm tempted to take the Giants to cover. But the decision to bench Daniel Jones and go to Tommy DeVito has not gone over well.
No.
It doesn't feel like in New York.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that for Dable that might have lost him the locker room a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not going to take him.
I absolutely agree, and I don't have any problem with benching Jones
neither.
For business reasons. I know that's why they did it, so he doesn't get hurt, and they're not on the hook for that guarantee. But why not Drew Lock? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's almost like it's a twin bill. We're going to do what's not in the best interest of winning games by taking the quarterback out for financial reasons, but we're also not going to put the guy in who gives us the better chance to win because we want to lose.
Yeah.
It's like both. Yeah, I got Tampa both ways because of what Evan said.
Yeah,
I think the Giants locker room is
me too.
wondering the same
Buccaneers both ways. 1 o'clock on Fox. The 3-7 Cowboys are at the 7-4 Commanders. Cowboys finally have a non-prime game.
They'll be back, unfortunately. Washington by 10.5.
10.5. That seems like a lot. I'm going to take Washington to win at home. That's just a lot of points for a divisional game, even if Dallas is stinking. So I'm going to take the points for Dallas, please.
I'm just going to rip it. Commanders both ways.
Rip it.
Just rip it.
Grip it.
I normally would say I would do such a big spread in a divisional game, but the Cowboys just haven't been competitive in their games. So I'm going to take the Commanders both ways. I just think the Cowboys stink.
Yeah, I also think Washington, been off 10 days. They need to get back on track. Lost 2 in a row. Maybe Jaden Daniels a little healthier. I'll
Does
take
seem like
Washington
that's an
both
issue.
ways.
I will take the points. Cowboys cover. All right, we skip over the Patriots and we move to 4:05 on CBS. The 6-5 Broncos are a rare road game at the 2-8 Raiders. It's not far from home though.
Denver by 6. He always adds a wrinkle to it that makes me laugh. Denver by 6.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Bo Nix. He's playing pretty well. I think you can see why Sean Payton liked him and how he's fitting into things for them there. So I'm going to take Denver, drop Vegas, another one. I'll lay the 6 points from Denver.
Take Denver. I'll lay the points. The reason is I don't like the Raiders. One of my irrational gripes, like Fred has.
It doesn't have to be irrational. A lot of people
What's
like
the reasoning? Why don't you like the Raiders?
A
The
lot
owner?
of reasons. I think they should have just I don't know. I don't like just plopping all these teams in Vegas and just.
Well, it's not their fault.
I know, but there's a lot of reasons too. I don't know.
Okay.
It's kind of their fault.
Well,
It's the
yeah, they
owner's
wanted to
fault.
go there, but I don't know. But is that really the reason? Just
Yeah.
'cause they're in Vegas?
No, I just
They're
don't respect.
anti-Vegas?
I just don't respect the Raiders. I don't know.
respect them. Okay.
I don't know why.
All right.
It's fair enough.
It seems like a deep dive.
Imagine Fred asking someone why. How ironic is that?
Why?
That's why I called
The
it like
king of
kind of an
hatred for
irrational
no reason.
gripe. Yeah.
You might need an essay in the newsletter about
Oh,
why
I hate
I
for
hate
reasons.
the Raiders.
Yeah, I was
No,
going to
you
say
hate-
he's got reasons.
You hate for reasons sometimes, but you have a lot of irrational hate.
Well,
You do.
I have the reason, but maybe it's irrational. There's always a reason. You know what I mean? There's never just because.
There's sometimes a reason.
You may not think the reason is worthy of the hate, but that's your opinion.
I'm not buying the Bo Nix stuff. Feels very Mac Jones rookie year to me, like really good head coach that's managing him through these games. But I don't like the Raiders either, so I'm going to take Denver in this game, and I'll take the Raiders to cover though. I thought Minshew was a little frisky last week against Miami. I didn't think he played poorly.
I think it'll be a little different against the Broncos defense for your frisky quarterback. I think this is a huge game for the Broncos, a game on the road that they quote-unquote should win.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where they are. I'll take Denver both ways.
I'll take Denver, but not to cover. The Raiders cover in this AFC
How about
West game.
Brock Bowers?
And I do have to say, I was critical of other people and not coming back. I think Bo Nix, I thought he stunk. I thought he was a second-round pick at best. He's played really well.
Yeah.
And,
How much
far
credit do you
exceeded-
give Sean Payton for that?
A lot of it. But I give the coaches a lot of credit for how they handle these young guys because nobody comes into the league ready to do it all by themselves.
No.
So they need good structure, and I think Sean Payton's done a good job with them. Absolutely.
4:25 on Fox. The 5-5 49ers are at the 7-3 Packers.
Green Bay by 1.5.
Ooh, no, this is a good game. This feels, this is the closest spread we had, but this feels like a good one. Little old school, little history there, of course. I think it's a coin flip a little bit with these two teams, but San Francisco should be peaking. Shoot, I'm going to take San Francisco on the road. I'm going to go for it.
Me
I'll
too.
take them with the upset.
Yep, upset.
My guy Kyle's not doing so hot right now. This is not the season that they envisioned in San Francisco. I didn't think Brock Purdy played very well last week either. So I'm going to take the Packers in this game at home to win. Something's off with the 49ers. I can't really put my finger on it.
About that.
But it seems like all their guys have come back, but maybe a little bit too late, and the season's sort of off the rails already.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. I agree that Debo doesn't look good. I know
They don't have
Purdy.
Ayuk.
You know what happened
Yeah.
is you were complimentary of Purdy
That's
last
what
week.
happened.
You see how I did that? You
Yeah.
see that?
So I'll take
Yeah.
I'll take the pack at
Reverse
home.
engineering.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers to win the game. I think every once in a while this year they're going to have a good game just because of their talent. So this is one of those. 4:25 Fox. The 6-4 Cardinals are at the 5-5 Seahawks.
Seattle by 1.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Ooh, this is another good one. NFC West matchup. I love Seattle at home, but Arizona's playing well. I think they've got a lot of respect. Trey McBride, another tight end who's kind of coming on and playing well.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm going to go Arizona. I'll do the same thing I did last time with San Francisco. I'll take the upset.
This is one, too, that I'm conflicted. My gut's saying Cardinals. My brain is saying Seahawks. And I feel like
Who's
it's
gonna
bad vibes to pick 2 upsets in a row. So I will go with the
What's your heart say?
Listen.
My heart could not care less.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
Seattle at home.
Seattle at home.
This is I love watching both of these offenses.
I don't know which one owns the other on this one.
I don't know either, but both these offenses I think are really well designed and fun to watch, and I'm excited to watch this game afterwards. But I'm gonna go Seahawks at home. I just think that they're riding high after that win last week over San Francisco, so I'll take the Seahawks. But I think both these coordinators are doing a really good job.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Arizona. I think they've played better than Seattle over the course of the season. I think they'll continue to do that, and I think that the way they play is going to be it travels.
Yeah.
You know, they're a physical team. Yeah. They like to run the ball with Connor, and Murray's played really well.
Yeah,
he has. It's a tough one. This
It
really
is.
is a tough one.
That's why it's a 1-point spread.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals. I've kind of been with them all year, so I'll stick with them. Sunday night, 8:20 on NBC Universo Telexitos and Peacock. The 8-2 Eagles are at the 5-5 Rams. Rams coming off a huge win.
Yeah, back-to-back
huge
primetime games at SoFi this weekend. Decent matchups, not great matchups, but decent. The Eagles by 2.5.
6 in a row for Philly. Streaking.
What's that? 6 was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I always have trouble with this. Like, you see the Rams come in and their offense looks really good against Patriots team, and it's like, how are these guys not better than what their record indicates they are?
You know, most of those guys haven't played most of the year.
That's correct, right? No, yeah, I know, but that's what So I think I'm going to go with the Rams here. Lots to like about Philly, but I still just think there's some things not quite totally right there. I'm going to go with the Rams as home dogs.
I'm going to take Philly both ways.
I like the Rams here, too. I think the thing that is off about the Eagles, to me, is their coaching. I still don't trust their coaching on offense, especially, and I think this is another one of those games, prime time. McVay, Stafford, I think they show their mettle in this game.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are a better team, but I'm going to root for my boy Matthew Stafford. So I'm just going to take the LAR, and I'm going to just I'm going to use Alex's advice and go with my heart.
Listen to your heart.
Rip it.
Rip it.
Oh, speaking of your love of Stafford, that reminded me. I was on Claire's podcast today. I just wanted to shout her out.
Yeah, shout out, Claire.
Episode 103.
Hello, Claire.
Claire doesn't call in anymore. Those are, remember she used to call in?
She
emails
us.
us.
She's busy.
Emails.
She's busy promoting her own
Time difference
show.
too.
She's famous now.
We have to probably pay her to call in now because she's,
This is another one I have no idea. I'm going to go with the Eagles. I've been picking against them a lot this year, and I've been wrong, so I'll give them this week, and they'll probably prove me wrong again. But take the Eagles over the Rams. All right, Monday night, 8:15 on ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, and ESPN Deportes. The 7-4 Ravens are at the 7-3 Chargers. The brothers.
Oh,
correct.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
cute.
Harbaugh Bowl
Bro
and Baltimore by 2.5 also.
It's a tough one. I like Baltimore just last week. It was like I said, it was so them. Like you get on board, you feel like they're humming, and it's gonna all go great, and then all of a sudden they lose to a team that you might not think that they should have lost to. No disrespect to the Steelers.
That sounded like a lot of disrespect,
well,
actually.
maybe it was. That's just my own personal.
The team ahead of the other one wasn't supposed to win.
I just feel like the
Our
Ravens
source
are
isn't going to give us
I know.
information
I
anymore.
know.
now.
Oh, that's
Thanks a lot,
true.
Paul.
Yeah.
Alienating the source.
You know what? I'm going to go with the LAC at home. I think they play
Wow.
a similar kind of tough brand of football to Baltimore, and I think got a little Ravens skid here.
I'm going to predict a Ravens bounce back on the road. Take them both ways. Happy for the Harbaugh family to all get together right before Thanksgiving. It's really nice of the league.
It's a great point, Alex.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
very
right.
wholesome.
Do you think he'll fly back? Or actually, it was like the other Jim's still living in like a. He's living like an RV.
A
on
van
the
down
beach
by
or
the
something.
river?
Yeah,
A
he
bungalow?
was. That's where he was.
I love that.
It's so cool.
Was it a bungalow?
Bungalow.
Yeah.
Prices in L.A.
Well, LA bungalows are nice.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to take the Ravens in this game. I like what I've seen from the Chargers. I'm just not sure if they're quite
ready yet? Yeah.
there, and Baltimore needs to get back on track after last week. So I will say, though, when Justin Herbert was running down the field on a scramble the other day, I did a double take and thought it was Drake May, and it was fantastic. Right then and there, it made me feel something.
Yeah.
It was
number
great.
10 too.
Yeah.
Where did you feel it?
Oh God.
No comment.
So I'm a little worried that
Jess.
I'm agreeing with some of the points that Evan's making so much. I agree everything you said about the Chargers. I'm really impressed with the
can't.
team, but I don't know if they're ready for a step up in weight class.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Baltimore.
I think Jim has John right where he wants him. I'm going to take the Chargers.
Okay.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I get them mixed up too.
Right.
All right. Now we go back to Sunday at 1 on CBS. The 3-8 Patriots, who the team no one wants to play, are at Miami playing the 4-6 Dolphins.
Miami by 7.5.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Well, it sure is.
It's a lot of points.
It sure is. It's like those
Who's that?
old-time movies.
Well, it sounded like the beef.
Yeah.
Gee, Wally.
Oh, Wally. Dad's going to cream me on account I didn't do my homework.
That's perfect. That was absolutely perfect. That could actually be a line of dialogue from that show.
Trust me, I grew up with Leave It to Beaver.
Leave it to Beaver.
I needed a hint on the name of that show.
I don't. My confidence is not high with this Patriots defense going against this Miami offense. Heard him talk about speed all week. It's going to be a challenge for them. I think Tua's gonna. If Tua does what Tua does, he's gonna have a day. I've got Miami 33-24.
Miami 34. Backdoor cover by the Pats 27.
Oh, look at that parlance.
I like where Alex's head is at. I'm going to go a little bit lower scoring, 31-23 Miami. But I like where your head's at in terms of potentially a backdoor cover opportunity here for the Patriots. I definitely worry about the Patriots defense against this Miami offense. I think the key to the game for the Patriots is to try to shorten it. If they can make the Dolphins march, have to go 10, 12, 15 play drives to score, then maybe they can keep this thing in the 20s. But if you just look at the matchup on paper, I don't see how the Patriots defense stops the Dolphins very much.
Yeah, I kind of see it similar to everybody else. I'm going to take the hook. I will take Miami to win, but I'll take that half point, 30-23. I think Drake May gets sort of in a shootout adjacent, but can't quite keep up because he doesn't have what Tua has to help him do it.
Oh, I said 31. I meant 31. I meant your score.
Oh, so you're taking the points.
Yeah, 31-24.
Oh.
Backdoor cover.
Okay.
I'd love to say Huck Tua in this game, but
so that's oh, go ahead.
Pause.
You might hear that again on Sunday. I'll
but
just
I
let
can't.
You know.
Huck Tua?
Yeah.
Tua.
Yeah.
I got you. All right.
But the Dolphins prevail. But
what are you doing after
the Patriots, for the first time this season, hit the 30 mark, 35-30. Dolphins win the game.
That would be a fun one.
Yep. All right, so that's going to be it. That's it. Everything's in.
We had a hurry.
The hay's in the barn.
Only had 3 minutes left.
The hay's in the barn.
Yep.
Any closing thoughts as people enter into the weekend?
I got one.
Yeah?
Can I do some media on media crime?
Oh no!
Please.
It's for me, not you. Don't
Alex, please do it. I know the story. Go ahead.
What happened?
worry. I was doing a one-on-one yesterday interview outside of the locker room. I was interrupted mid-interview, mid-player thought for just like some small talk. I'm not going to call out the reporter. I'm not going to call out the outlet, but they were experienced. They've been doing this a while. And
That's disrespectful.
Who does that? Like, trying to get an interview, the player's in the middle of like a long, really thoughtful answer, and this reporter just like came in to shake his hand and
Is
say
there
some
any
dumb small talk.
Is there any chance that the reporter just heard the silence and moved in and didn't know that you were in the middle
No,
of
because the player was. I have the recording mid-answer.
Oh.
And it totally threw him off the game. He had to be like, "Wait, what was the question again?
Well,
I'm so sorry."
That's BS. Now, did you say anything to this person?
So this is what I want you guys' advice on.
Back in the day,
Yes,
Cooler heads prevail, so
say
I wanted
something.
to give it some time, and I didn't want
she's bad.
I didn't want to like look like a B word in front of the player and be like, "What the F are you doing? I'm trying to conduct an interview."
No,
'Cause
but
it was,
back in
but,
the
like,
day, that
what
would
the hell
happen.
are you doing?
Yeah.
That
And would
happen.
you do that if it were any like I don't know?
See, that would be my second part of the question: is would the reporter have interrupted
And I don't want to play
someone
the
that didn't
gender
work
thing
for the Patriots? No, no.
or the team employee
Karen.
thing.
Would they have interrupted Karen Garigian doing that?
Right.
No, they wouldn't have. They did it because it was a Patriots employee. They knew that, and they figured they could.
Oh.
That's what I
Annoying,
think.
right?
That's not
I was
right.
pissed.
I don't.
No.
I don't blame
And
you.
it
I-
wasn't like just.
I was told
it
the
wasn't
story
like,
yesterday, and
it
I
was
agree
small
with you.
talk with the player. We were outside of the locker room,
Right.
doing like recorder literally up like that. Well, technically it was like this because they're a lot taller than me.
I don't know if it happens as much as it used to, but back in the day when you'd have the big scrums, sometimes you'd have jostling in the back with like a writer that would get in front of a camera, and the camera would be
Throw
like,
some elbows.
bump him in the head
The
on
camera guy
purpose.
gives you the hand on the
yeah,
shoulder.
Yeah.
And the
You're
writer
killing
would be
me
like,
is what you get a
oh,
lot of,
killing
yeah.
me. There would be
Yeah.
sometimes, there'd be close to skirmishes breaking out.
Well,
The new
Brian's
setup
not on the beat
avoids that.
anymore, so
Right,
there's
that's
not as
true.
many fights as there used to be.
Right.
The new setup helps with that. Now that we're doing video only in the Revs locker room,
Yeah.
it definitely avoids those types of
But
situations.
what used to happen a lot is kind of what Alex is talking about. There'd be scrums everywhere, and then some people would say, I don't really have any interest in the scrum, and they'd go over and talk to somebody on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the scrub would end, and, 3 or 4 people from the scrum, well, he's talking. I didn't invite you to this.
Right, yeah. Right.
I'm talking to this guy by myself. I didn't say you guys could come in.
Right.
But
Right.
that happens.
And that used to be etiquette.
In general,
Yeah.
that's the etiquette. is
Right.
Someone that comes over and they'll give you they'll try to make eye contact with you to see if it's okay.
Yep.
Before
And that's
they
why I'm like, what the
intrude.
hell? This isn't this guy's first rodeo.
No,
This happens all the time
something
with
should
Paul
be said.
saying.
Something should be said. And you said it was a veteran?
Oh, yeah.
Veteran camera person or
Nope,
writer?
Writer.
Oh, even worse.
I don't know who it is, but I think I know who it is.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it off camera. All right. don't forget, if you want the newsletter, email podcast@patriots.com. Pre-game show 10:45, then the post-game show right after. Paul promises that they'll do the good, the bad, and the injured correctly.
Well, I can't promise. Mike and I are trying.
All right, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Cash 22 next. Don't forget.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.